Let it be. Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up and take command. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let me say something real quick. Somebody told me, and I'm pretty sure he is accurate here, that you're supposed to salute with the right hand. I'm left-handed. And first of all, I feel like the left hand gets shitted on and it doesn't get enough respect. And I said this when I was a kid. I don't know if I still want to do this or not. But I said, when I get money, when I become rich, I'm gonna create left-handed products. Have you ever tried to write in a binder left-handed over the prongs? If you're right-handed, you don't know the struggle, okay? So I said all of that to say this. While the right hand may mean, power, and it may mean everything, and the left hand may mean you're weak and this, that, and the third, guess what? I'm here to change the narrative. Left-handed is, you know what it is. So anyway, I digress. I want all the smoke tonight, man. So I'm juiced up. I'm charged up because, it's funny how things happen and things get said in the off season, and it always conjures up extra added energy, right? So I'm going to see if, yeah, I got it. We're going to start off the night with a little bit of smoke right out of the gate. So Eagles running back Miles Sanders decided he wanted to run his mouth. Let's see if we can't resize this puppy, though. I should have did this before. I was having so much trouble with my mouse, with everything going into this show. Had a family tragedy strike. Life goes on, though, right? So let's get this up here nice and easy here. Good old Miles Sanders decided he wanted to run his mouth and talk about the Eagles being an all-star team. We feel like we're an all-star team. We feel unstoppable. Oh, really? First of all, Miles Sanders, how about you worry about staying healthy? How about you worry about playing 15, 16, 17 games? How about you work on that first, bruh? Secondly, does this not sound eerily similar to a dream team? Was this Vince Young or was this Miles Sanders spouting off at the mouth? I'm going to leave it at that. Good old Miles Sanders providing the rest of the division. F what Dallas and the Giants think about that. Providing us with extra added ammunition. They're the first divisional opponent that we'll see this season. This all-star team that he's talking about. We'll see them in week 3. Boy, I cannot wait. Bart Scott can't wait. And we're going to win that game. I've already ensured victory. Okay? Guarantee it in week 3 for that all-star team that Miles Sanders is referring to. And, the thing that really gets me so excited and makes me laugh and chuckle about the Eagles all-star team is you have a pedestrian quarterback. So what difference does it make? Because I've already said this. I've talked about the Eagles offseason. It's a damn good offseason, man. Okay? James Bradbury and A.J. Brown and what's the edge rusher from Carolina that was drafted by the Hassan Reddick and the linebacker from the Chargers. They had a good offseason, man. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. So really quality offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. But guess what? You still got Jalen Hurts at quarterback. So nobody gives 2 shits about what you've done to remake this roster and turn it into an all-star team. You still got number 2, or is he number 1? What the hell is his number anyway? 1, 2, doesn't matter. Okay? Still Jalen Hurts. So I love the bravado from Miles Sanders. I love the bulletin board material. I love the energy. I want all the smoke. We running up chimneys this season. We running up chimneys. So I love the fact that old Miles Sanders decided that he wanted to tell the world that the Eagles are an all-star team and they feel unstoppable. Good. Nice. So when we smack you around in week 3, I don't want to hear anything about what happened here or this didn't happen or that didn't. Hopefully his ass is healthy in week 3. Okay. Because generally speaking, Miles Sanders is on the side in street clothes. So it'd be nice just to see old 26 in a uni come week 3. God forbid we see him in week 10. Okay. Probably will see him in week 3. It's not hard to be healthy by week 3. Try week 10. I want to see him in week 10 as well. We'll see. Anyway, I digress. How are y'all doing tonight, man? Feels good to be here in front of the gang talking about the burgundy and gold. Terry McLaurin got his money earlier in the week, made all of our days, and it puts a lot of us at ease going into training camp. Terry had a very heartfelt post to the fan base, to everyone that has supported him, and it's why we love him. It's why we hold him in such high regard within this organization and as a fan base. Why, we really have gravitated towards Terry McLaurin as one of the best players, not only on this roster, but one of the better players in the league. So we feel like now that's the piece that completes this cipher, if you will. And it puts us in a position now to just focus on ball. I thought that a lot of people were underestimating the distraction that this would have been had it not gotten done. I know Ron Rivera and company understood that, which is why they got it done before the turn of the calendar to July. But you hear a guy like Antonio Gibson post on Twitter, yeah, I'm glad he got his money. I was tired of talking about it. So that tells you all you need to know about, this situation and how it can affect the rest of the team. And I talk about this all the time when it is in regards to distractions off the field, which is why, and I don't want to really harp on the Jack Del Rio situation, but it's a distraction. When guys have to answer questions about something that is non-football related or something that doesn't have to pertain to them, doesn't have to do with them, or doesn't pertain to them, it's a distraction. And especially when you have to answer the same question, just formulated in a different way over and over and over again, it becomes tiresome. It becomes a tedious situation, and you become jaded, right? So you want Terry to get his money, but you get tired of the media asking, well, what does Terry mean to this team? What does it mean for Terry to not be here? How bad do you want Terry to be here in attendance? Like, you asked me that same question 8 different times. I've given you the same damn answer. I don't know what else you want me to say. That's my brother. I want him to get paid. What else do you want me to say? What else you want from me? He makes this team better. He's one of the best receivers in football. What else do you want me to say? I've said all of these things 17 different ways. So it's good to get Terry under contract. And as I've said before with other teams, and I've said with this team as well, when you've got your number one wide receiver, it properly slots the rest of your receivers on your team. We're still trying to figure out the pecking order, because everything's new to us. All of this stuff is young, fresh, and new, essentially. Curtis Samuel, for all intents and purposes, didn't play last year. He's new to us. Okay, it's still like a brand new toy. We opened the package, but we didn't really get to play with the toy. We took it out of the packaging. We got to feel the toy, but we don't know all of the features. We never really got to press any of the buttons. We don't know what it actually does. So that's still a brand new toy, essentially. Then we got a absolutely brand new toy that we haven't taken out of the package yet, Jahan Dotson. And De'Ami Brown, we played with that toy a little bit, but we feel like there's some untapped potential from that toy. Like, there's some more that thing can do. We didn't press all of the buttons. We pressed some of the buttons. We didn't press all of the buttons. So we got a lot of stuff, and we don't even know who's 2, who's 3. And at this point, as long as everybody's producing, it really doesn't matter who's 2, 3, or 4. As long as one's out there and 2, 3, and 4 are taking attention from number one, so he can go do his work in peace and quiet and not have to take on double and triple teams, all is right with the world, and this offense can start to really become the juggernaut that we think it could be. So the Terry signing, huge for what it means for this football team moving forward. And this offense, I feel like, has a chance to really soar to heights that we haven't seen in quite some time. So I was looking at a ranking today of the NFL's offensive units, and we're ranked currently 19 on that list, okay? And as a overall roster, I looked at a list that had us ranked 20th in the league, roster-wise. So, again, we're being doubted, and I love the fact that we're being overlooked by so many outlets. Did you guys see? So JP Finley posted the odds for all of the games this season. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can pull that up. I got to see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find JP Finley tweeting out. Let's see. I'll just look him up, and I should be able to find that tweet that he had. That pretty much talked about the games. I think we were favored in 4 out of the 17 games. It was a pick 'em for one of the games, and in the other 12 games or so, we were underdogs. So we're really being shitted on. I love it. I mean, the disrespect, it's palpable, but I like the disrespect. You know, I want to be Rodney Dangerfield, man. Can't get no respect this year. I want that. Now, again, after we demolish this schedule, win double-digit games, and everyone wants to jock ride us next year, I need us to stay with the same level of focus and keep the same energy. And we want, and as a wise man once told me, everybody that's on that side, stay on that side. Okay. When we start winning and we start grinning and we having a good old time and we got double-digit wins and we looking to lock up the division with a win against Dallas in week 18, stay on that side. Okay. Next year, when we're coming off of a divisional crown and a postseason victory, and we feel like we're on the precipice of doing, stay on that side. That's the energy that I'm keeping. That's the energy that I want now. I want all the smoke. I told you tonight is about going up the chimney. I want all the smoke tonight. And I want all of the naysayers to stay on that side. So when we start winning games, when we start handling business and we look like a real outfit, like we're legit contenders, don't come over here trying to get on the train. Stay on that side, okay? That's what I want. I want them to keep that same energy. Vegas, keep that same energy. I got to make sure that I put my, $100 down on Washington at 7.5 win total for the season. We're going to win more than 7 games. Again, I can't stress this enough. We had the toughest schedule in football last season. We played with Taylor Heineke at quarterback. We had a ton of injuries. We had COVID, and we won 7 games last season. You're trying to tell me with a better quarterback, with a better roster, and a much softer schedule, we're only going to win 7.5 games? I'll take that bet all day long, all day strong. So I got to make sure I slap down my bread on that particular bet because that's a bet that I'm willing to make, and I'm willing to take Vegas's money. And generally, Vegas knows what they're talking about. I think they're wrong on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and slap down my bread and try to take advantage of Vegas sleeping on the kids this upcoming season. So, all right, let me see if I can find this thing on JP Finley tweet. JP Finley. There he is. And let's see if I can track it down. Here it is, right here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and size this puppy up and see if I can't get this thing up on the screen for you guys so you can see it. And it's in all of its splendor. See if I can't get this thing. I told you I've been having mouse. I got to give me a new mouse, man. I've had this mouse for a nice little while. It's held the kid down, but it's tripping. And I think it's tripping because it's on its last legs. I want to blame the batteries. I really do, but I've changed them twice now. And I refuse to believe that, you know, all of these batteries are malfunctioning or, you know, gone bad. I just refuse to believe that. It's got to be the mouse at this point. So let's go ahead and save this. And I'm going to try to get it up on the screen so you guys can see it. Because I feel like this is borderline disrespectful. Not as disrespectful as Miles Sanders, but I feel like this is borderline disrespectful. So we're going to throw this thing up on the screen real quick. And I guess I should have made it bigger. So hopefully it doesn't distort too bad. If it does, then I'll just go get it and make it bigger. But let's pull this puppy and make it bigger so you guys can see this thing. All right. So let's take a look at this. So Washington is favored 4 times. They're dogs 10 times, and it's a pick 'em essentially once here. Let's take a look at this. So week 1, they have us, let's see. Week 1, they have us as, looks like they've got us as 3-point underdogs, 3.5-point underdogs at home against Jacksonville. They got us as a 1.5-point favorite on the road at Detroit. They have us as a 3-point favorite at home against Philadelphia, which tells you they don't think that much of Philadelphia quite yet. They have us as a 7-point dog on the road at Dallas, which is fair. They have us as a 1.5-point favorite, which essentially is a pick 'em. You know, same with the Lions game. It's a pick 'em. When you're on the road and you're a 1.5-point favorite, generally speaking, being at home is worth 3 points. So if you're a 1.5-point favorite, it's essentially a pick 'em. All right. And they're telling you we don't have a lot of confidence in you. So they don't have a lot of confidence in us on the road at Detroit. They don't have a lot of confidence in us at home versus Tennessee. That's fine. They have us as 1.5-point dogs on the road at Chicago. 5.5-point favorites at home versus Green Bay. That can't be right. 7-point dogs against Indy. 2-point favorites at home versus Minnesota. 6.5-point dogs at Philly on a Monday night. That's fair. Got us as a pick 'em, really a pick 'em at Houston. I mean, it's laughable when you look at this schedule and what they think we're going to do. I mean, it's borderline disrespectful. Borderline disrespectful. What they're essentially saying we're going to do this season. I love it though. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest with you. And so I'm definitely going to slap some money down on us 7.5 wins for the season. I'm going to take the over on that. And I saw another tweet too about a lot of people seem to think Vegas is wrong on this, which is why they haven't moved the number. Washington is the most betted over in terms of win total in the NFL this season. 99% of the money is on Washington to go over 7.5. And yet Vegas hasn't moved the number, which tells you that they want your action. They want you to put your money down because they think you're stupid and they're going to take your money at the season's end. I love it. Again, I love everyone telling us how good we're not going to be this season. And I love all of the extra added motivation as to what, we're going to do this season and what we can't do, what we're not supposed to do because we're not good enough to do. So And some of this, what some of this is? Some of this is a lack of confidence in Carson Wentz, because really what moves the needle in Vegas, what moves the needle in NFL conversations, and it's fair, right? It's the quarterback position. We talk about this all. The only reason I feel as confident as I do about this year's team is because I'm more confident in Carson Wentz's ability to lead this offense than any other quarterback we've had here in Washington since, again, Kirk Cousins circa 2016. So, again, Alex Smith, Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, Taylor Heineke, Kyle Allen, the list goes on and on and on. I may have left out one or two guys, Garrett Gilbert. I mean, all the guys that have worn the burgundy and gold, that have laced it up and played quarterback for this team over the last, 5 or 6 seasons. None of them are as talented as Carson Wentz. None of them gives us the best chance. None of them have the track record that Carson Wentz has going into the season. Ryan Fitzpatrick, throw him in the mix, even though it was only for 13 plays. So I feel really good about it. Apparently, the rest of the league doesn't. Apparently, Vegas does not. Again, all good signs for us, because what we've done in the past is we've played our best football when all odds are against us, when the chips are stacked against us, when nobody believes, when we're just a little old predator over here, waiting to be, little old prey over here, waiting to be got by some big bad predator, when we're allowed to sneak up on teams because it's just Washington. It's just Washington. It's just the Commanders. What are they going to do? That's when we do our best work. So again, the thing that is so baffling to me, that I feel like is borderline disrespectful, is the fact that we play a schedule that isn't daunting, And again, I can't state this and stress this enough. I'm being disrespectful intentionally, okay? I have to be intentional with my disrespect, because how else will they know it's disrespect? If you don't tell them, if you don't go to somebody and slap them in the face, or as Daron Payne did, point in the side of their temple and give them the finger and let them know, how do they know it's disrespect? Sometimes you have to be blatant. You have to be intentional with your disrespect. When I tell Eagles fans, we're going to do you in week 3. We're going to do you in week 3. That's disrespect. I want them to know that I'm disrespecting them. I'm going to beat you in week 3. So I like the fact that we're being disrespected, because I need this to be intentional for the teams that are looking at us like food. Jacksonville, I'm telling you right now, Jacksonville fans, if they're counting 9 wins on their schedule, I guarantee we're one of those 9 wins. If Detroit Lions fans are counting 8 or 9 wins on their schedule this season, 10 wins, I guarantee we're one of them. And they're saying the same thing that we're saying. They're saying, hey, we got a chance to get off to a good start. We got Dallas, or we got Washington, we got Philadelphia and Washington in weeks 1 and 2 if you're Detroit. We got Philadelphia in week 1, Washington in week 2. We got to get off to a 2-0 start. They're saying the same thing that I'm saying. We got Jacksonville and we got Detroit. We better get off to a 2-0 start. Okay? Again, everybody's looking like food these days. We look like food. They look like food. Somebody's got to eat. I feel like the old Rallies commercial. Okay? What are you doing? You got to eat. I don't know who the Jaguars or the Lions think they are, but they won't get far unless they eat. They won't be eating here, okay? They won't be eating at FedEx Field, and the Lions, they never eat at Ford Field, okay? So we're going to eat at home. We're going to eat on the road. We're going to have food all over our face this season, because we're going to do damage at home and on the road. Hopefully, we can turn FedEx Field into a home field advantage. I'm not holding my breath on that. But the more you win, the more confidence you instill in the fan base, the more they show up to games. What a novel concept. If you're 2-0 going into week 3 against Philly, Philly fans are going to come in and try to infiltrate the stadium, take over, and make it a home game. I'm gonna be anxious to see, because this new iteration, the Commanders, this is the inaugural season. So I think you've ignited the fan base. This Carson Wentz trade has people intrigued. I don't think they're on board yet, but I think they're intrigued by Carson Wentz, which I think is the right way to approach this. Intrigued, okay? You don't have to be all in. You got my guy Big Money Sonny talking about top 5 dead or alive. You got other guys like Mega talking about he's going to light it up and show the rest of the league. You got people that are all in on Carson Wentz. That's fine. I'm not putting all my eggs in the basket, but I am intrigued. I know what this guy is capable of, so I want to see him do it in a burgundy and gold uni. Once I see that, I can feel a lot better about Carson Wentz here, and then I can start being brash and start talking cold, hard cash. But until then, I'm going to be reserved in that manner. But I will tell you, he still gives us a better shot than any of the quarterbacks we've had here the last 5 years. That's a fact. So I feel good about that. And because of that, I feel like we have a chance to do some serious damage this upcoming season. And I wonder, if you get off to a 2-0 start, does that Eagles game that normally looks like 50-50, 60-40 Eagle fans, or 60-40 Washington fans, or 55-45 Washington and Philadelphia Eagles fans, but it's always close. Either they have the advantage or it's dangerously close. I wonder, if we get off to a 2-0 start, does that thing start to skew towards 80-20? Does that thing start to skew towards 75-25, which is where it should be? Okay. Does that thing start to skew to 70-30, which is an advantage for us at the crib? Or is it still 60-40? Is it still 55-45? Is it still 50-50? Or hell, does Eagles fans outnumber Washington fans? They've done it before, but that was at the end of a season when it was lost and there was nothing to be gained in that particular game. But we've seen them come in and take over the stadium and have way more fans than we had in the stands. I wonder what a 2-0 start would mean for this team. Only one way to find out, okay? Only one way to find out. And I don't give a shit how they do it. I don't care if it's 17-15 week 1 and it's 13-10 week 2. I just want to see what 2-0 looks like, feels like, smells like, and what it does for the fan base in a big divisional game at the crib versus the Eagles in week number 3. Should be interesting, but you can't get to 2 without 1. You can't get to 3 without 2. We got to win in week number 1 first. And so that's where all my attention is going to be focused for the remainder of the summer, is everything that we do in training camp and in the preseason leads up to Jacksonville at home, FedEx Field, 1:00 week 1. Got to find a way to win that game. And that's going to be a Jaguars team that's invigorated, with a new head coach, with a running back that, much like us, with Curtis Samuel, was a brand new toy, even though he was there last year, did not play in Travis Etienne. So they're going to have a different offense. They went out and signed Christian Kirk. They feel like their offense has a chance to be explosive with Doug Peterson now calling the shots. They feel like they've got a chance to get off to a really good start. And no better way to do that than to announce yourself to the world week 1, going on the road at Washington and getting the win. So we got to be on our P's and Q's, Y's and Z's, and make sure we don't allow those boys to come in here and have any type of confidence. So should be very interesting as we get closer and closer to talk about that. But I just love how we're being disrespected, man. The disrespect, man. I thought it was just a couple of people outside that were, disrespecting us. No, we're being disrespected essentially universally. No one's got us winning in the division. No one's got us being as competitive as they had us being a season ago. And the funny part about the difference between this year and last year is that we were coming off of a 7-9 division crown. And Ryan Fitzpatrick was our quarterback. And the schedule was brutal. Everything last season pointed to us struggling. Yet you had people talking about this team being the second best in the NFC behind the Rams. You had people talking about this team being the best in the NFC East, and that everybody else had to come and get us and knock us off our throne, and that we could be Super Bowl contenders. That was the narrative last season. And then this year, with a better quarterback, a better roster, and a lesser schedule, we're somehow worse than we were a season ago. Again, I know we live in a recency biased society, and everything that people base their opinions off of is the last thing that they saw. And the last time they saw this team, we were 7-10. We weren't very good. We got destroyed on a Sunday night by the Dallas Cowboys, gave up a 50 burger. We were fighting each other on the sidelines. That's the last image that they have of us. And so they think that we're ass. We haven't made any adjustments, no improvements. We're the same ass-tastic team we saw on Sunday Night Football get embarrassed by the Dallas Cowboys. That's what they have in their minds. That's why Adam Rank thinks we're going to be 3-14. That's why Vegas thinks we're only winning 7.5 games. That's why everyone's looking at us like food. Good. Great. Keep that same energy. And again, if you're on that side, stay on that side. Okay? That's my message for all of the haters out there, all of the people that think that we don't have a chance this season, that have disregarded Carson Wentz and tossed him away like yesterday's trash, that disregard the fact that this roster is improved. Look, I'm not saying that this roster is light years ahead of where it was last year, but it's better. And you'd be a damn fool if you don't think it's better. And honestly speaking, just based off the fact that guys that were here last year have a year more experience in the system, that there's more continuity than there was a season ago, that Jamin Davis is no longer a rookie, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac. Same could be said for De'Ami Brown. The fact that these guys are in their second year more comfortable in the offense and the defenses that they're going to be playing in respectively, and that they have seen the league now, know the speed of the game. You don't think that's not going to impact their play on the field? You don't think they're better because of that? Like, that's the thing that really irks me. But again, I love the fact that we're being disrespected in the manner that we're being disrespected in. But it's amazing that there's no one out there pretty much saying, hey, and there's going to probably be one or two people, hey, look out for Washington. There's always one or two out there. Look out for Washington. But nobody's really buying what that person's selling. Okay, he's an outlier this year. Last year, everybody was willing. We were one of those chic picks. Easy to jump on Washington. Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick's with the Washington football team. They've got a shot to really, shock some people and open some eyes this year. No, we didn't. And I told everybody that last year. This is the year where I'm telling you, you better watch the hell out for the Washington Commanders. You can get your ass kicked this year. For real. Now, I don't know about this defense. That's the one thing that I'm still a little like, I'm a little antsy about is this defense, because they didn't instill a ton of confidence in me last season. And I still don't know if I trust Jack Del Rio wholeheartedly. And I got to see it before I believe it. I know the schedule is much better set up for us to dominate defensively. Again, this schedule feels much more like the 2020 schedule that we dominated than, of course, the one that we saw last year, which was Murderer's Row. But I still need to see this defense improve and go out and kick ass and take names. I think they're capable of doing it, but I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not doing that with them. I'll give this offense the benefit of the doubt, because there were times last year where this offense, they carried us, There were times where this offense last year looked legit, and that was with Taylor Heineke, Terry McLaurin, and, a bunch of dudes that, generally speaking, don't get it done in this league, outside of Adam Humphries. It was literally Terry McLaurin and Adam Humphries. And, when Cam Sims was healthy, Cam Sims. We didn't have Logan Thomas pretty much all season last year. We didn't have a healthy Curtis Samuel. De'Ami Brown was a no-show because he was a rookie and he was injured. This offense was a shell of itself last season. So I look at this year's offense, and to me, it's light years ahead of where it was a season ago. Better quarterback. Offensive line, I don't think it's necessarily better, but I don't think it's going to be that much worse. If it's not the same, it's not going to be that much worse, okay? And you know how I feel about the offensive line. My confidence in our offensive line coach's ability to get the most out of whatever five we put on the field. And we've got depth on the offensive line. But, again, whatever we do on the offensive line, I've got the utmost confidence in our O-line coach. So, at the end of the day, offensive line is going to be just fine. Tight end position, don't know when Logan Thomas is going to be healthy and ready to rock and roll. Feel like we got some good depth some good competition at tight end going into camp. Remember last year, we weren't really sure what we had behind Logan Thomas. This year, I feel like we can hold it down. We can hold down the fort until he's ready to get back on the field and contribute, whether that's week 1, whether that's week 3, whether that's week 5, or whether that's week 7. I think we can hold the fort down until he's ready. You know what I'm saying? So I think we got enough there. Running back, we're legit at running back. I mean, I think we've got a chance to solidify ourselves as a top 10 running back group in the league when it's all said and done, with the likes of Antonio Gibson, Robinson, and McKissick. I think that group has a chance to be special this upcoming season. And then, of course, how I feel about the wide receiver group. So this offense has a chance to be phenomenal. The defense is what I worry about, but we're going to see. At the end of the day, the pundits, the people that don't think this team's going to be any good, they're not following the day-to-day with this team, okay? And a lot of times that's what you get with the national media outlets. They're not following this team closely. They're not living and dying on every single move that is made by this organization. They don't know that we re-signed Bobby McCain. Of course they're going to have a sheet in front of them that tells them that, but we don't need a sheet to tell us that we re-signed Bobby McCain, or that we brought back Charles Leno Jr., or that we brought back J.D. McKissick. We don't need a sheet in front of us to tell us that. We don't need a sheet to tell us that we added 2 more commanders, that we added 2 more guys on the offensive line that we feel like are going to just be plug and play guys at both guard positions, and Trey Turner and Andrew Norwell. We don't need a sheet in front of us to tell us that. We know what we have. They don't know that we're waiting on Chase Roulier to come back from injury. They don't know that. They don't care. They just, okay, whatever. We know all of the tidbits. We know all of the little finer granular details that make all the difference, which is what instills confidence in us. We watched all the games last year, every single snap. We know what this team is capable of, what we could have done, what we should have done, what we didn't do, what we have a chance to do this season. We know. We watched the games. We know that we could have won. We won 7 games. We could have easily won 11 games last season. Should have beat the Chargers in week 1. Should have, could have, would have. We didn't. Okay? Easily could have beat the Saints in week 5. Should have, could have, would have. We didn't. Could have easily have beaten the Chiefs in week 6. Should have, could have, would have. What we didn't. Could have easily have beaten the Packers. I know it sounds crazy. We lost that game like 24-10. We were in the red zone 5 times and came away with 0 points. The kicking game was an issue last year. We're hoping that that's not an issue this year with the fly guy. He's a sly guy. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Joey Sly is supposed to lock it down for us and keep that game nice and crisp over there. When we're supposed to get 3, we getting 3. There are so many things last year. Again, that's something that a national media pundit wouldn't know. That we got a kicker at the end of last season that solidified the position for us, didn't miss a single kick, extra point, field goal, nothing. That's coming back, and we feel damn good about it. They don't know that. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know, and they don't care. But don't worry about it. They'll find out. A wise woman once told me, those who don't hear, feel. So let them feel us. We ain't got to say nothing. We ain't got to go Miles Sanders and tell them that we got an all-star team and that we feel unstoppable. We don't have to tell you that. We want to show you that. We want you to feel that. That's the energy that I'm bringing. Hopefully y'all coming with me. Anyway, I'm going to say this again, because even though I declared tonight smoke night, okay? Tonight is smoke night. I want all the smoke, okay? And there will be times where it's smoke-free night. We don't want any of the smoke, okay? And there may be a couple of games on the schedule where we look at it and we say, you know what? Probably don't want the smoke this week. But right now, I want all the smoke. I want all of it. So while I tell you this out of one side of my mouth, I'm also telling you this out of the other side of my mouth. Sip slow, okay? Sip slow. All right. I know it's kind of like hypocritical. I'm hype. I'm telling you we kicking ass. And at the same time, I'm like, hey, be wary. Sip slow. It's hard to do both. But there's a fine line. Okay. And it's a balance that you have to have. And I want you guys to stay somewhat even keel. Look, it's okay to go a little bit on one side, a little heavier than the other, but don't go too far. Okay. Stay where I can see you. It's just like your mom giving you an extra 5 or 10 minutes outside. Yep. Street lights are on. You're supposed to be in the house. Mom, can I just stay outside for 5 more minutes? All right, stay where I can see you. Stay where I can see you. I'm telling y'all, don't go too far. Stay where I can see you, okay? These cups and this punch that I've put together is strong, okay? It'll have you staggering out of distance. I can't see you. Stay where I can see you, where I can lay eyes on you so that I can make sure that you haven't gone too far. All right? Let's get to the comment section. So, see what you guys have to say. Y'all see the thumbnail, right? Those boys are ready. We want all the smoke. That thumbnail says, we want all the smoke. Bring it. We running up chimneys. Bring the smoke. Anyway, I digress. Barrett Downing, my guy BD. Thank you for the super chat and getting the night kicked off. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what up, Lou? Been working a ton, but I am looking forward to the season. Hope the Twins are well as the family. Respect. Hey, I'm glad to hear you're working. There's people out here that aren't getting the bread. So I'm glad you're getting to the bread. Go ahead, get that butter and get that toast, man. Get it while it's hot, fresh out the oven. Get as much of it as you can. Because at some point, they're going to tell you, man, you can't have none of this bread. So get as much of it as you can. I'm glad to hear you out there making that bread and that cheese, man. Always good to hear from you, BD. I'm so excited for the season. As you can tell, man, I am amped. It's a shame that it's only going to be July in a few hours because I'm ready for it to be September, to be honest. And I'm not that guy that likes to rush time. I value each and every single second of every minute, of every hour, of every day. So I'm that guy, but I cannot wait. Bart Scott can't wait for the upcoming season. I'm gonna be lit. I'm not gonna lie to you. The mob is gonna be lit. We're gonna be watching these games together, and it's going to be so much fun. And I'm gonna be juiced for these games, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be amped. I'm not going to be super amped for the preseason this year. I'm not doing that. I was so amped. I was too turned last year for the preseason. Way too turned up for the preseason last year. And as it always is, it was a dud. Okay. It never changes. It never ceases to amaze me how excited we get for Washington football only to be disappointed after the first 10 minutes. Like, okay, this shit is trash. I'm not doing that. And we got so amped when Chase Young sacked Cam Newton on that first possession of that, or it might have been the first or the second possession. I think it was the first possession of the game. And Deron Payne could have picked up the fumble, but he, town and country, as Ron likes to talk about, town and country, got to know where you are. He was actually in the country. Okay. And when you're in the country, you're supposed to pick it up. When you're in the town, you fall down on the football. Okay. He just didn't pick it up cleanly. That's all. It's a weird shaped ball. It's hard to pick up sometimes. So, I got way too excited about that. They talked about breaking the sack record. The first possession of the game, he gets a sack. He shows me a move I haven't seen him use, and I lost my shit. I'm not doing that this year. I'm not. I don't care if Montez Sweat has 4 sacks in the preseason. I'm not doing that this year. I'm not losing my shit this year over preseason football. I don't care if the offense has 3 offensive possessions with the first unit and they score a touchdown on all 3 of them. I'm not going to go overboard with the preseason. Okay. I'm not going to do it. So I am so looking forward though to September when this season gets underway. And because I think this has a chance to be one of the best seasons we've turned in a while, since 2012. I'm just going to be honest with you. This feels like the makings of a season that has, high aspirations and big time achievement written all over it. Now, again, we're Washington. And for what that's worth, it usually means that everything ends badly for us. Okay. We usually don't have, the best of luck, and we're not highly favored. And, I don't have to tell you this stuff. This has been our narrative as fans for the last 2 decades. But this year feels different. And I told you, Ron's plan. And if you believe in Ron's plan, and I know some of you have jumped ship, or some of you are barely hanging on to Ron's plan by a thread, whatever the case may be, if you believe in Ron's plan to any degree, then this is the year that we are supposed to start to see the wheels turning in the favor of the good guys. This is when we're supposed to start seeing all of the first couple of years of building this roster up, building the depth, but most importantly, changing the culture. This is when we're supposed to start reaping the benefits and starting to receive some of the dividends from all of the investments made over the first 2 years of Rivera, Del Rio, and Turner. Now we're supposed to be able to go and borrow against some of the money that we've put in the bank. This is the year where we're supposed to be able to go and make purchases based off of the credit that we've established under Del Rio and Rivera and Turner. So I'm looking forward to seeing us put down real estate in multiple road areas. Okay. We travel well. That's one thing we do as a fan base. We travel well. We have no problems showing up in Carolina or showing up in Detroit with a bunch of fans. We go West Coast, a lot of fans out there as well in LA. And we have no problems in Arizona showing up and making a lot of noise and giving, the fellas a little juice on the road. We got no problems doing that. I want to see that same energy at the crib. So the Twins are doing well. They did have a little bit of a virus. I think they're starting to get over that now, though. So they're doing a little bit better. Thank you for asking. Hope your family is doing well. And I always appreciate you, BD. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, King of the North, writes, all QBs Hurts has beaten. Uh-oh, here we go. Mullins, Jones ×2, DiNucci, Hill, Taysom, that is, Ryan, Darnold, Goff, Bridgewater, Simeon, Zach Wilson, Garrett Gilbert, that is, and Taylor Heineke. So what he essentially is saying, what King of the North is essentially saying is that man hasn't beaten a good quarterback yet. Not a single one. I would count Matt Ryan as a good quarterback. And I've said this already, had they played the Atlanta Falcons in week 9 or week 13 instead of playing the Falcons, hell, had they played the Falcons when we played them in week 4, they probably would have lost. They caught the Falcons in the best possible scenario for the Eagles, which was week 1 when their head coach, Arthur Smith, was still feeling his way out. They were trying to figure out what they had roster-wise. They were still trying to figure everything out with a new head coach. So they went in there and stomped a mud hole in them. And if you watch that game, which I did, the Falcons moved it right down the field on the opening possession, and they couldn't get in the damn end zone. Got the football the second time, went right back down the field, and couldn't get in the end zone again. And that's where the game changed. After that, the Eagles simply dominated them and never looked back. So they had their opportunities in that game to really jump on top of the Eagles and make it interesting, and they didn't take advantage. You got to credit the Eagles for that as well. But anyway, that's the one team that they've beaten with a quarterback that was half decent. All the rest of these dudes are scrubs, okay? Including Heineke. And I don't want to call him a scrub, but he's a backup. That's what I should say. Not scrubs. That's incorrect. Backups. He beat essentially all backup quarterbacks, sans for Matt Ryan. So until he beats Tom Brady, we did that last year. Hey, woo-hoo, we did that last year. Till they beat Tom Brady, okay? Until they beat somebody of substance. We beat Ben Roethlisberger, a couple of years ago? 2 years ago. We beat Russell Wilson last year. We beat Derek Carr in his building last year. Till you're doing that, holla at the kid, okay? So as far as I'm concerned, this is why I have zero confidence in his ability to get it done, Jalen Hurts, because he's not good from the pocket. Him using his legs, that's cool. Him throwing outside the pocket, he's actually probably better outside the pocket than he is in the pocket. That's always been the thing that I've contended, is he looks more confident and comfortable outside the pocket than he does in the pocket. But he still makes stupid mistakes outside the pocket. I always harken back to that Giants interception before the half on the road in a game that they lost to the Giants, like, what was it, like 10-7? But they lose that game 13-7, I think it was. That was a dumb, boneheaded interception he threw rolling out to his right. You got 3 points guaranteed to you. You throw it right to the other team? Where's the psychological sense in that? You think that's a good idea? You need to wash your face and get your mind right. So those are all the quarterbacks, courtesy of King of the North, that Jalen Hurts has beaten. That's a very uninspiring list, if I may say so myself. Anyway, thank you for that super chat, King of the North, and thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, HTTR for life writes, I got $50 on the Eagles not winning the division. You should get your money back there and then some, because I feel like we're going to finish better than them. No way they can win the division if we've got a better record than them at the end of the season. I think we're going to have a better record than them. But I'm going to tell you this. I expect this division as a whole to be ultra competitive because of the fact that we all play relatively soft schedules. And I've already talked about what needs to be done in order to find yourself at the top of the NFC East when it's all said and done, because we've seen, Dallas and even Philadelphia, maybe to a lesser degree, but we've seen those teams take advantage of, the teams that they're supposed to, beat up on some of the teams that you're supposed to take care of. We've seen them do that in the past. So I feel like I'm a little bit more confident in Philadelphia and Dallas's ability to say, okay, we're definitely not losing to Jacksonville. We're not losing to Detroit. Not losing to Houston. I could see those teams taking care of business against those teams the way that they're supposed to. I question, will we do the same? Because we've had letdowns. We've lost to teams that we have no business losing to. Are we going to take care of business and do the things that we need to do to put ourselves in a position at season's end to have a chance to call ourselves NFC East champions once again for the second time in 3 years? I don't know, but I feel like the roster, the quarterback, even the coaching, a lot of you don't want to give Rivera his credit, but one thing about Ron Rivera coach teams, and this goes all the way back to Carolina, is that they're disciplined. They don't beat themselves. They don't have a lot of penalties and unforced errors. Last year was an outlier in terms of the block kicks and, all of that stuff that we had going on and the mistakes that we made that allowed teams to take advantage of us. And again, that was at the beginning of the season. When we came out of that bye week, we're a totally different outfit, totally different team, much different swag. And, it showed on the field by winning 4 straight against, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Seattle, and Vegas. It showed, we beat some quality opponents. So we'll see what happens this year. But I don't think the Eagles are going to win the division. But, we'll see what happens. One thing I feel good about is I don't think it's going to be Dallas. So it could be Philadelphia. I don't think it's going to be Dallas. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Eric writes, "Sup, Lou? Sup, Eric?" Says the thought of this O-line with Wentz throwing to Terry, Curtis, Jahan, Sims, with JD, with Gibson, JD, and Robinson. Bates is solid. Could be fun. Ha ha. Our D will be the biggest question mark. Do they hold up for 17? Hell. I think that's the thing that I'm looking at right now is this defense. I'm looking at them and saying, hey, what you know about that? You about that life? Because I think this offense is ready for the show. I think they're ready to go right out of the package in week 1. They're ready to put up 30 points on Jacksonville's head. The question is the defense ready to stop Jacksonville from making it a competitive game and having us win 30-24? Or is the defense ready to have us win that game 30-13? I think we're capable of going to Detroit and avoiding the kneecap biting that they want to do and put up 33 points. But is the offense going to have to win this in shootout fashion, 33-30? Or is the defense say, hey, we got you, bro, 33-20 it is? That's what I don't know. I think the biggest question mark is the defense. And obviously we won't be full strength when the season starts because we won't have Chase Young. So it'll be interesting to see the boost that he maybe gives this defense when he comes back. What do the linebackers look like? How good does Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis play? Because you're going to see a lot of, those two on the field in particular. We're not going to run a lot of, base sets where we're in, 4-3 defensive front and you got 3 linebackers on the field. I think you're going to see a ton of nickel where you got 2 linebackers on the field, 4 defensive linemen and 5 defensive backs. So, which will produce that Buffalo nickel a lot of times for us defensively. I'm anxious to see, what we look like defensively. That Buffalo nickel will have to serve as that third linebacker essentially. So this defense, they have some question marks. Do they have the answers? That's the real question. But I think this offense has a chance to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But it ain't no fun if you ain't getting the dub. Scoring 33 and losing 36-33 it's not my definition of fun. Yeah, that was fun to watch, but we lost. So now it's your reality sets in and you're like, shit, we lost. Damn, that was like, had we lost the Giants game last year, had we lost the Falcons game last year, those were entertaining games. They were so much fun to watch. But if you come out on the wrong side of that, it's not as exhilarating. Okay? It's not as fun. Winning is the definition of fun to me. Yeah, it doesn't have to be pretty, but if it's a win, I'm having the time of my life. So thank you for the super chat, Eric. We'll see if the defense can hold up for 17 weeks. Hopefully more, because they got to go to the postseason and do it. But anyway, I digress. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. HTTR for life, who writes, I am so confident that we're going to beat the Eagles week 3 that I'm willing to take another bet from any Eagles fan. $40 says they lose. I don't know if anybody, I'm pretty sure there's some Eagles fans that would take that action from you, but I'm just as confident as you are. I guaranteed a victory, a month or 2 ago. I did the same thing going into the 2020 season. Week 1, I said it's Rivera's first game. He's got cancer. They're going to want to win that game. And I said that before Rivera. We found out Rivera had cancer. Remember, his cancer diagnosis happened probably, maybe 3 weeks before the start of the season. It wasn't very, much longer than that. So I was guaranteeing a Rivera victory week 1 against the Eagles. Remember, the Eagles had beaten us, about 5 or 6 times in a row heading into that game. So I was all over that we were going to take care of business there. So I feel the same exact way this time. And, it's going to be interesting because it's not week 1 this time. It's week 3. So anything can happen in the first 2 weeks that, puts us in a very compromising position heading into that week 3 game. Anything could happen. Same could be said for the Eagles. They could be a different team by the time they get to Washington in week 3 where they started the season out weeks 1 and 2, and they had a full cupboard. You get to week 3 and you got a couple of key guys injured, and it changes the dynamics of your football team. So it's not as easy to guarantee what's going to happen in week 3, but I'm confident that we're going to find a way to beat the Eagles in week 3, because I felt like we were close to beating them last year with a lesser roster and a lot of injuries and COVID impacting this football team. And we could have easily have beaten them in both of those games. Game kind of got away from us in Philadelphia last year with Garrett Gilbert under center in the second half. Really more so the fourth quarter, that game got away from us. But we were in that ball game. We had our opportunities. And we definitely had our opportunity. We had the football driving with the chance to beat them on the final possession, and Heineke throws an interception in the end zone to McLeod to end the threat. So for as bad as we played down the stretch of the season last year, for as many injuries as we had, for as impacted as this roster was by COVID, we were right there with the Eagles, which gives me confidence that if we're healthy, if we're locked in, and we're a better football team, this time than we were last year, I don't see them beating us. And I know they're a better football team too. You have to acknowledge that they're a better football team this year than they were last as well. At least on paper they are. Same can be said for us. We'll see if, it manifests itself on the football field or not. But I like our chances. I like them a lot. Thank you for the super chat. HTTR for life. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Duncan writes, let's give a shout out to NFL.com, third-ranked rising star Jalen Hurts. In his rookie year, he won 7 of his last 8 games. Last game don't count. Facts. Meh. So, won 7 out of his last 8 games, and the Eagles were hot at the end of the season. And the Eagles were running the hell out of the football. I'd love to know, what percentage of the Eagles' offense filtered through the run game versus Jalen Hurts actually producing as a quarterback. But you won the games. I can't take that away from you. We heard the competition and the name of the quarterbacks that you were beating during that 7 out of 8, streak of wins that you guys were able to get heading into the postseason. So it wasn't the most damning competition. But that said, still got to go out and take care of business, and that you guys did. But again, as I mentioned, when you play better competition, when you play better quarterbacks, can Jalen Hurts outduel a team that is capable of scoring 30 points, which I think we are now officially capable of? Last year, we were really not a consistent enough offense that was capable of scoring 30. We scored 30 against the Giants, and I think 33 against the Falcons. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, 34, I think it was 34-30. I think that game ended up being, because they needed a touchdown. I don't think they needed a field goal. So at the end of the day, the question is, if we're capable of scoring 30 plus, is Jalen Hurts capable of taking that offense and revving it up and getting them to that 30-plus point plateau to help them win? The answer was no last year. When you had to outduel Mahomes, you couldn't do it. When you had to outduel Dak Prescott twice, you couldn't do it. When you had to outduel Tom Brady twice, you couldn't do it. So when I see the teams that are capable of scoring, I think you had Vegas on the schedule last year, couldn't do it. Chargers, that didn't get to the 30s. It was a close game, but you couldn't do it, right? So at the end of the day, that's what I'm focusing my energy on is, okay, that's cool what you did last year. Let's see what you do this year. All right, and you got more weapons, better football team around you. Let's see what you do. All right. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, a wise person once told me top 5 dead or alive. Again, you know what it is. Big money. Sonny has been screaming that from the rooftops. Excuse me, top 5 dead or alive. I told you I can't co-sign on that. I can't put my Hancock on that, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him ascend back to that type of status and at least throw his name in that conversation. He was once there as an Eagle. Can he get back there as a Commander? We'll see. Aaron Carson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Aaron Carson, writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Aaron? Hope all is well. Likewise with you. Says, going to Vegas, putting a G on the over 7.5 Commander win total. Good bet or no? New member of the squad, by the way. And that's a damn good bet to me. I'm trying to talk myself out of putting down a G. You know, I don't want to be overzealous. I don't want to do too much, but I don't think a G is out of the realm of possibility for me. I'm thinking about getting nasty myself. If I don't put down a G, it's either going to be, I know I'm putting down a hundo for sure. Worst case scenario, you slap down a C note and you keep it pushing. You don't miss it. You slap down 500 though. A 5 spot. Now you're a little bit more invested. You slap down a G, and now you're living and dying on every single game. Okay, so I think I might hedge my bet, and that's not the right term to use when you're talking about gambling. I might just, split the difference and go with 500. But I'm leaning towards a rack. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very, very it's very tempting. That's for sure. Because in my heart of hearts, I know we're winning 8 games. That's all we need to do is win 8 games. So I need to hurry up before Vegas says, you know what? Maybe this total is low and push it up to 8. I need to get in before that happens. Look, with all the money that's being bet on the over and they haven't moved the total, I'd like to think that it's staying right there and they're enticing everyone to slap down their little $5 or $1,000 and they think they're going to take our money. So I'll take that bet though. Anyway, any day of the week, I'll take that bet. Yeah, I think that's a good bet, Aaron. Do your thing, man. Let's see. Gear Cell 1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Gear Cell 1 writes, Louie T. Uh-oh. Here we go. He said, didn't know you are down with the left-hand nation. Absolutely. I point them out quick. It's the first thing I notice on somebody. You write something left-handed, you do something left-handed. It's the first thing I scope. We got to stick together. We are outnumbered. There's not a lot of us out here. So, I'm acting as if you acknowledging left-hand nation means you're a part of it. It sounds like you're a part of it. I will claim you, even though I don't know that to be a fact right now. But, we got to stick together, man. It ain't a lot of us out there. He says, just saw JDR at Walmart wearing a camouflage sundress with Timberlands and gray socks. Tragic. HTTC. Now, I can't let you put a sundress on the man. Come on. I mean, you could have said something else. A sundress? At least it was camo, right? I mean, that's the best I can go and, do for you there. But come on, man. Don't put Jack in a sundress, man. Yikes. Thank you for the super chat. Gear Cell 1. J. Kurt 20. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, J. Kurt 20 writes, if Ron doesn't win this year, he will lose credibility and confidence in the fan base and the local media. Big year for Ron. He knows it. I think that Ron understands that this is a big year. He's acknowledged that. That's what the desperation was for this offseason, is that this is year 3. We've had back-to-back 7-win seasons. We feel like we've built this roster up to a point now where we should be able to compete for something meaningful. We need a quarterback in order to do that. So they went and got a guy, and they've continued to fortify the roster, get guys that we feel like can be key contributors right away. I think the draft was a continuation of the offseason in terms of getting guys that are ready to impact this roster right now. We talked about it already ad nauseum with this draft. This was a draft chock full of players that they felt like could come in and immediately impact this football team. They weren't looking for guys like De'Ami Brown last year that had to acclimate himself and wasn't ready to really contribute. They want guys that look more like Benjamin St. Juste did last season and Sam Cosmi, when healthy, did last season. They want more guys like that, less guys like De'Ami Brown and Jamin Davis, who showed flashes, but weren't the contributors that they were looking for those guys to be. I think with what they did in this year's draft class, they got guys that are seasoned veterans that played a lot of college football that they expect to come in and contribute right away. Whether you're talking Jahan Dotson, or you're talking Percy Butler, or you're talking Brian Robinson, or you're talking Fedarian Mathis, even Cole Turner to a lesser degree is a guy that they are looking at and saying, we expect you to help contribute in your rookie season. So I think this was a draft class that they really emphasized. Let's get guys that are going to add to what we've already done this offseason, what we've already built here, and what we are expecting to do going into year 3, which is win and win big. We need guys that can come in and contribute right away. And so I think Ron understood that. That's why the draft looked the way it did. That's why they pursued Carson Wentz the way that they did. That's why they were willing to eat the $28 million and suffer the penalties, like having to cut Eric Flowers and Landon Collins and Matt Ioannidis, because they needed to address the most important position, and they were going to do it by any means necessary and at any cost. So, the level of desperation is high, and I think he understands that, and he said it already. We got to win. We got to win this season. Everybody is in that building that has been here, and even the guys that just got here, they understand, okay? They understand what the objective is this season. You've heard guys like Antonio Gibson talk about, look, we got to win, man. You heard Jonathan Allen talk about, look, we got to win. Guys are sick and tired of not getting it done. All the pieces that we need are here, or as a wise man once said, all we need is right here in this room. I think we've got it. Now they got to go out and prove it. And as far as him losing credibility if he doesn't win, I think he will lose credibility with a lot of the members of the fan base. The media, I don't give a shit what they think. What they decide they want to report on or write or say or do. But I do think there will be a bit of credibility lost that I don't know if he'll be able to gain back. I mean, obviously, if he won big in year 4, then he'd win back a lot of fans out there. But this is a year where you look at the schedule, you look at the roster, you look at everything that's been done, and you feel like, why not this year? Why not us? So thank you for the super chat, J. Kurt 20. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Metaphor. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, as you see, my Terry rap and R&B got that extra years of 3. As you see, my Terry rap and R&B got that extra years of 3. That one went right over my head. I have no idea what you're trying to convey to me there. I think I might just be being slow, but forgive me. I'll ask for forgiveness in advance. That one went shoop, right over my head. All right. Let's see. Cool. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Coop, writes, Howl season in August. You got to be hyped for that. I mean, it'll be cool to see the young fella, but I'm not going to be hyped to see 14 out on the football field. I want to see it. It like that gives the preseason a little extra juice in terms of, all right, Fitzpatrick is out of the game, Heineke's out of the game, and now you're watching Kyle Allen, and you're like, I know what Kyle Allen is. This doesn't really move the needle for me. Or, a couple of years ago, it was Steven Montez, and we're watching Steven Montez try to lead a comeback. I want to say it was against the Patriots last year, that first preseason game. He's trying to lead a comeback, and he was awful. We got hot late in that game. AGG, remember, he thought he caught it, and he was cradling the ball. He walked it all the way to the sidelines, and it turned out not to be a catch. Oh, how embarrassing that was for AGG. That was the beginning of the end for him. But, there was no juice with Steven Montez. There was nothing to get excited about seeing Steven Montez on the field. At least we get into the third quarter of that second preseason game, and all the starters are officially out. You still like, hey, Sam Howell's coming in the game. I want to see this. You'll probably have a couple of guys that we're anxious to see like Samis Reyes will be in there probably with Sam Howell and a couple of other guys. It's like, okay, well, let's take a look at these guys and see what they're capable of. So from that standpoint, sure. But I'm not going to be like amped for Sam Howell season, for Howell season, as you say. I'm not going to be super amped for that. But, you know, it'll be interesting to watch. Interesting versus important. That's interesting. It's not important. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Coop. Let's see. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Duncan Wright, who writes, I'll take that bet easy $40. So you heard that. All right. So HTTR for life and Duncan Wright, y'all link up. Y'all do what y'all need to do. And, you know, make sure that whoever loses pays up. You know, be a man about it. If your team doesn't get it done, man up and you know, fork over that cash. But Duncan Wright says he'll take that bet, HTTR for life. Y'all in the comment section, figure it out, make it happen. I digress. Look at me out here promoting betting. Let me back off. Hey. Let's see. All right. Got a super chat here from HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. HTTR for life writes 16-1. Our only loss will be against the Lions. Yeah, right. In your dreams, that would be awesome. Since the NFL has gone to this 17-game format, which is only a small sample size, it's only 1 year. The best record last year, if I'm not mistaken, was, I want to say it was 13-4. The Packers went 13-4 with the number 1 seed in the NFC. And in the AFC, the Tennessee Titans were 12-5, and that was good enough for the number 1 seed out on that side. So no one has gone 16-1, obviously. And we're not doing that, clearly. But again, 11-5, 11-6, you know, 12-5, 10-7, definitely within bounds, you know, within reach. And again, I'd be disappointed if we don't go at least 10-7. I'm going to be disappointed with the outcome of the season. 10-7 may not be good enough to get you into the postseason. You know, you have to prepare yourself mentally for the fact that you may have to win 11 just to get in. But, you know, 10, I'll be satisfied with 10, you know, because we don't do 10 wins in the season. We don't do double-digit wins. But I want to be greedy. I want more than 10. I want more than 11. I want 12. But I'll take 11. 11 will get you to the postseason. But I want 12. We'll see what happens. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. My guy, Metaphor, thank you for doubling up, writes, you're whack, Lou. That was a rhyme. Terry 3-year extension. Well, let me go back and look at it again. I told you I might have been being slow. I told you I didn't get it, and I tried to read it multiple times to make it make sense. And I didn't get it. As you see, my Terry rap and R&B got that extra years of 3. Okay, I got it now. Okay, so I was being slow. Shoot me, okay? It happens from time to time. All right, I told you that one went right over my head, and it happens from time to time. But thank you for clarifying that, getting me right, and I appreciate you. So, Condo P, my girl, Condo P. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my girl, Condo P. Right. Scary hours ahead. Run up the likes. Y'all heard the woman. Scary hours ahead. And run up those likes. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button for more great content. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also hit the like button as it helps this channel grow exponentially. You're damn right it's scary hours ahead, man. I love it. And unlike past years where Terry had to carry the load by himself, he's got help. That makes all the difference in the world. He's got a better quarterback getting in the football, and he's got help. So that's going to take a little bit of the pressure off of him. And you know what? Sometimes when you've got so many weapons, you fail to feed the beast sometimes. And so what I hope doesn't happen, especially with him missing, mini or OTAs and that mini camp, and, not really having built that rapport. Hopefully he and Carson Wentz, carve out a little bit of time for each other to work out and try to get some of that timing together. But even if they don't, they don't start working on that until they get to camp. Cool beans. At the end of the day, what I don't want to find myself doing as a fan is get into the season and week 2, we're screaming, why is it halftime and Terry doesn't have a catch yet? I remember doing that several times last season. Like, why isn't Terry more involved? We have to get him the football, and it's not hard to get your best receiver the ball. It's not hard. All right. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy, Eric, writes, who has the most touchdowns on the team this year? Terry, Gibby, McKissick, Bates, Dotson, maybe Robinson on short fields. If I had to pick one of those players, I'd say it'd be Gibby. I just go back to his rookie season when this offense showed signs of life at times. He was a touchdown machine. He had 11 in his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had 11 or he had 13. But I'm pretty sure he had like 10 or 11 rushing touchdowns and like 1 receiving touchdown. So whatever that number was in his rookie campaign, it was a high number for a rookie that essentially was not really given a real opportunity until the 3rd week of the season. So in his rookie season. So I think it's Gibby, and that's something else that we really need to do this year if we want to be we were terrible in the red zone last year. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. That was one of the reasons why we didn't win more games, is we weren't very efficient in the red zone. And in 2020, we were really efficient in the red zone. We didn't get there as much as we would have liked to in 2020, but when we did, we made it count. And the reason, and I talk about this all the time, the best red zone offenses are the ones that can run the football into the end zone. It makes it so much easier on your offense when you can line up and run it into the end zone, or at least have success. If it's 1st and goal from the 9 and you rip off a 7-yard run to the 2-yard line and now it's 2nd and goal from the 2, you have a much higher probability of scoring on 2nd or 3rd down than you would if you had an incomplete pass or a 2-yard run or a 1-yard run on 1st down. And now it's 2nd and goal from the 8, or it's 2nd and goal from the 7. You have a much better chance of scoring 2nd and goal or 3rd and goal from the 2 or the 1. So running the football in the red zone is so instrumental to the success of any offense that's looking to have a high conversion rate in the red zone. We got to get back to that. And that's where Gibby comes into play. He was outstanding in his rookie season in the red zone as a rusher. We need to get back to that in 2022. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. HTTR for life writes, I was joking, Lou. Ceiling is 12 max. Of course I know you were kidding. I knew you were being facetious. I knew you weren't serious about 16-1. And you said the 1 loss is coming to the Lions. Like, I knew you weren't being serious. 12-5 is doable. I think when it's all said and done, and I haven't given out my prediction yet, but I honestly think without, and I kind of got the schedule not committed to memory, but I know the teams that we play and I know the general vicinity that we play them in. Let's see how many I can rattle off. Week 1 is Jacksonville. Week 2 is Detroit. Week 3 is Philadelphia. Week 4 is Dallas. Week 5 is Tennessee. Week 6 is a Thursday nighter against the Bears. Week 7, I think, is Green Bay. That's when things get a little hazy for me. Week 7, I think, is Green Bay. Week 8 is a road game against Indianapolis. I think that's the Carson Wentz road game. Week 8. Week 9 is home against Minnesota. Week 10 is on the road Monday night, Philadelphia. Week 11 is, I think that's the first time we have back-to-back road games, and I think that's Houston, if I'm not mistaken. Then we go home week 12 for the Giants, I think. And then I think we have a week 13 bye, and then I think we come off the bye. Week 14, play the Giants again. Then week 15, I think, is home for week 15. 16, I know 17 is home. I think 16 is road 49ers. 17 is home Cleveland. 18 is home Dallas. I'm just missing a game. And I might have messed up 13, 14, somewhere in there, 12, 13, 14. But generally, you see where I'm coming from. I've almost committed the entire schedule to memory. I never do that. That's how dialed into this schedule I am. Okay. I've almost committed the schedule to memory, and I never do that. So I'm just as bad as the players are. The players usually don't know who they play the following week. They're so focused, tunnel vision on the next opponent. I'm usually not that bad to where I don't know who the next game is, but I can't tell you who 3 games down the road are. I can almost tell you the whole schedule. That's how locked in I am. So I feel like 11 games is probably the number that makes the most sense to me. 11 and 6. But 12 and 5 is definitely. And if you're going to go 12 and 5, that means you have to, again, the things that I've talked about. In order to go 12 and 5, you're going to have to be really efficient against the AFC South and the NFC North. I've talked about 6 and 2 needing to be the mark if you're trying to win the division. And you got to be at bare minimum 4 and 2, but probably more like 5 and 1 in the division. And again, you're going to have to beat a Green Bay. You're going to have to beat Tennessee. You're going to have to go on the road and either beat Indy or a San Francisco or a team like that. If you're going to get to a 12 and 5, you're going to have to win a game that you probably don't know if you should win. Vegas doesn't think you're going to win. And most people don't think you're going to win, like home for Green Bay or at Indianapolis, potentially. Those are games that, probably we're going to be heavy underdogs in. Those, you have to win one of those if you're going to go 12 and 5, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, HTTR for life. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat, greatly appreciate you, my guy. Metaphor writes, Scary Cherry, Super Bowl 57 MVP, calling it. Okay, I mean, if you say so. I'm not going to stop you. Again, you know how I feel. I'm not co-signing any SB talk. I'm not even talking about, the P word right now. I'm trying to keep it strictly regular season only, okay? Because in order to play bonus football, you got to take care of your business in the regular season. And until we do that, I don't even want to start throwing the P word around. So it'd be nice. Wouldn't it be nice? But we got to get there first. For sure. Johnny Boy 26. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Johnny Boy 26 writes, I want a chip. Barring injury, no excuses. That's so Johnny Boy 26. Here's my problem with that line of thinking. And it can be done. Okay. The Bengals went from AFC North doormat to 2 or 3 possessions away from winning the Super Bowl. Okay. We don't have Joe Burrow at quarterback. Need I remind you, we don't have Jamar Chase at wide receiver. Need I remind you of that as well. However, and they put together one hell of a defense. That said, NFC's wide open. I've talked about this already, but usually, and I said this on the show when we were talking about Terry, before you can walk, you got to crawl. Before you can run, you got to walk. All right. We're in the stage where we're crawling and we want to get up. Our balance isn't the greatest yet, but we want to walk. And usually it comes in steps. So you need to make the playoffs and win a game first, at least a game. Now, again, there are, examples of teams that's like, F that. Jacksonville showed up in 2017 having never, having not been competitive since probably the Jack Del Rio days, back in like 05 and 06. And they show up in 2017, and I'm probably being a little bit, OC with that. They probably had made the playoffs in 2011 or something. But with who am I thinking of? Maybe not. I mean, because last time I remember them being in the playoffs and having any successes with David Garrard. I think he was post Leftwich, right? So, yeah, never mind. Anyway, I feel like that was like 2011 with David Garrard, but I could be tripping. Anyway, I digress. Jacksonville showed up in 2017 and made it all the way to the AFC Championship and literally was 7 minutes away from beating the New England Patriots and making it to the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles at quarterback. It hadn't been before that. Okay. So I understand that you don't have to have experience. You don't have to play in a bunch of playoff games. And, this isn't basketball or baseball where you got to win a series and the better team always wins. You just got to be the better team that day for one game. So, yeah, a chip it's not impossible, but I think the percentage is really low. And to make that, like, the statement you made, Johnny Boy 26, and I get it from a fan perspective. You've been a fan a long time. You've been through a lot of heartbreak. You've been through a lot of anguish with this team, and you want to see a winner, and nothing else will suffice. That said, the statement that you made, that's a statement that a Buffalo Bills fan could make this year. Like, okay, we made it to the playoffs the last 3 years, made it to the championship game a couple of years ago. Last year, we got, booted out of the playoffs with a bogus overtime rule that's been so, corrected. So we feel like, this is the year. If you're a Bills fan, you can say, hey, this is Super Bowl or bust. To hell with all this playoff talk. We don't give a shit about the playoffs. We need to win the Super Bowl this year. That's a Bills fan can make that statement and say, no excuses. I want a chip this year. They've been in the postseason 3 years in a row, and they've won a playoff game, at least one playoff game each of the last 2 seasons. We haven't won a playoff game since 2005. I mean, to just think we're going to show up, and win 2 or 3, depending on, what our seeding is, probably more likely than not, we're going to have to win 3 to get to the Super Bowl. And then a 4th to hoist the Lombardi. You're asking a lot. But again, it's not impossible. So you're telling me there's a chance. Yeah, I am, but I wouldn't bet on it. Thank you for the super chat, Johnny Boy 26. Let's see. Got another super chat here from Jake Hutton. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Jake Hutty writes, Year 1, Ron gets us 7 wins and a QB carousel. Year 2, Ron gets us 7 with Heineke and a much tougher schedule. With Wentz at quarterback and his schedule sent from the almighty, the lads may make some noise, some serious noise. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. I mean, That's why I'm so flabbergasted by the national media, Vegas, and all of these pundits feeling like we're just some little sisters of the poor. Like, the context is there as to why we would be much better this year. Like, the stage has been set. All of the clues and all of the parts of the story that adds up to Washington winning 11 games this season are there for public consumption. And yet it's almost like they're burying all of the things that are easily there for them to be able to determine that, hey, this team could be legit this season. I don't understand. I don't get it. Maybe it's not made for me to get it. I told you I want all the smoke, so I'm glad that they're adding all of this fuel to the fire, which produces more smoke, which we are not running from nor ducking. And I'm hoping that we're able to inhale all of that smoke and blow it right in the faces of all of the detractors and naysayers. And again, I'm adamant about this. Keep that same energy. If you're on that side, stay on that side. Don't try to jump sides and jump ship when we start getting the dubs and stacking them like bricks in the left-hand column. Don't try to come over here and act like you was down from day one, 10 toes down from day one as an A1. You're not, okay? You just got here. You look like a funny looking to me. And we can point the funny lookings out. We know when we see them. We can spot them a mile away. I ain't never seen you here before. And I told you, they're going to be fans. And I don't mind the fans of this team that don't believe and that are more pessimistic than they are optimistic. I don't mind them jumping back on board because you're a fan of the team. You get to say when you feel like the team is ready to make some noise or you've seen enough to have confidence that they're going to do it this time. You're allowed to come and go as you please. When you're an outsider, you don't get to jump back on board. You don't get to jump ship. So keep that energy. Stay where you at. So I think you're right. They've got a chance to make some serious noise this year. And for me, you know, if we're probably going to have a show that is dedicated to this, but I'll leave this breadcrumb here. The definition of a successful season for me, and that this definition varies. We just had Johnny Boy 26 leave a comment that said it's Super Bowl or bust for him. He don't want to hear any excuses. He wants a chip, right? That's his definition of a successful season is a Super Bowl. For some out there, 10 wins, whether it results in a postseason berth or not, you get to 10 victories, that's a successful season. I don't think you're going to find many fans out there that feel that way about this particular year with this particular roster, the quarterback, and the schedule that's been presented to us. I don't think you're going to get a lot of people that will co-sign and sign off on a 10-win season that doesn't result in a playoff berth. My definition of a successful season, and this may vary for you, and I'd love to know what you guys think and what's a successful season for you. My successful season is a playoff berth, and it doesn't have to be a division win. I'd love it to be a divisional crown, but I want to make the playoffs and win at least one game in the playoffs. In the drought, get a playoff victory under your belt, and then you get in when you win a playoff game, because look, when it's all said and done, 14 teams get an I made the playoff sticker right on their chest. 14, damn near half of the league. It's not as prestigious as it once was when it was only 12 teams getting in. It's 14 now. Damn near half the league is getting a I made the playoff sticker right there on your chest. That's cool to get to the playoffs. And there are 18 other teams sitting at home on their couch watching the other teams play. And so it is an honor to get bonus football. And yes, you're one of the 14 teams inside the dance with a ticket that was allowed in before they locked the door. That's an honor and a privilege. And everyone doesn't get that honor and privilege bestowed upon them. But still, all that guarantees you is a sticker that says, I made the playoffs. What you do with that sticker is the important thing. And shit really doesn't get real because you could be on some Abe Simpson stuff. Okay, you could be on some Abe Simpson type shit where you walk in the playoffs, put your hat and your coat on the hook, turn in a circle, walk out, grab your hat and your coat, and you walk right out the door. You could be in the playoffs and going that damn quick. Okay, I'm not looking to just make a cameo. Oh, there go the Commanders. There go the Commanders. They're gone. Okay, made a little cameo. Hey, gone. I'm looking to hang around a little while, man. Make a little noise, ruffle a few feathers, man. The definition of a successful season is getting to the playoffs, getting that I made the playoff sticker, and then winning the game while wearing the I made the playoff sticker. Because now, can you imagine winning a playoff game and then that next week? Because each week that you're in the playoffs, the pressure and the excitement, it builds and it builds. Could you imagine how delirious we would be if you make it to the playoffs, you win a playoff game, now you're playing in the divisional round. Oh shit, you're one game away from the championship. You're one game away. You can taste it. Woo! You can taste it. And imagine winning that divisional round game, and now you're in the NFC championship game. You've lost your mind. That's how quick it can happen, but you got to win one first. Got to get there first. So for me, the definition of a successful season is winning at least one playoff game, getting to the postseason and winning at least one playoff game. What says you? Thank you for the super chat, Jake Hutton. Let's see. All right. Got another super chat here. This one is from HTTR for Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, my McLaurin jersey got delayed till the 29th of July. Wow, that's a long time because I thought you were just about to get it. Oh well, you're gonna get it before the season starts. That's all that matters. Training camp will have just kicked off, so if you were planning on attending a training camp practice, you'll have it in plenty enough time to get out there and rep the squad, rep Terry, and have your new Commanders jersey on. So it'd be one thing if they pushed it to August. That'd be a little disappointing because then you would have missed most of the practices. You know, they're going to have that open practice at FedEx Field like they did last year. And if you're going to go to that, you want to be able to rock your jersey, you know what I mean? Rep your squad. So I'm glad you're going to get it before, the real festivities kick off. But hopefully they don't delay it again. Don't push it back again because then it could get a little, scary then. John Livingston, my guy, JL Smooth. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JL Smooth, 105.3. Smooth. JL John Livingston writes, what up, Lou? What up, JL Smooth? My guy says, I see everyone took your advice to sip slowly. Me with the Bills brain in the back of my head, it's whispering, how are they going to screw this up this year? Old habits die hard. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Old habits die hard, but they have to die eventually. And old habits usually die with a vengeance, right? So I'm hoping that this is the year they decide to die, and go bye-bye, bye-bye, and just go away and never come back again. But we'll see, man. I mean, a lot of the fan base, they're not taking my advice. Contrary to popular belief, they are not taking my advice and sipping slow, okay? A lot of these dudes are out here chugging, and they're telling you, and they're brash. They're telling me, Louie, I hear you. I ain't listening to you, okay? I am guzzling this shit. I'm double fisting it. I am shoveling this shit down my gullet, and I'm going to deal with the consequences later. If we end up 8-9, I'll deal with it, my drunken stupor, when we get there. But it'll be a hell of a ride regardless. So I hope they understand that I say this because I've been there and they've been there. We've gone through this. It's nothing like having, those sessions after games. First of all, I like winning more than I like losing. You guys know that. But there's something about those misery sessions after a loss when we come together, and there's a lot of fussing, there's a lot of angry people, but there's something about having that release, that therapy, if you will, that forges this bond that we have with one another. It's easy when you're winning. When you're up, it's easy, man. It's in times of despair when you find out who your real friends are. Who can I really lean on? All right. The dude that does a video after a win, those come a dime a dozen. It's the dude that you come and find after the loss. That's the guy you got respect for, because it's hard, especially when it's a heartbreaking loss. It's hard, man. It's hard. So, yes, I try to instill that mentality of this is different this time. Give them a chance. But also, back of my brain is like, bro, we've been here before, man. How many times you going to do this? How many times you going to let Lucy pull the football as you go to kick it? You know better. Hope for the best, but expect the worst, bro. You know better. You know better. You know better. No flex zone. No flex zone. It ain't no flex zone around here. We don't flex on nobody. We don't win double-digit games. Change the narrative. That's the mantra this year. Change the narrative. So while you, with your Bills brain, are asking, how are you guys going to screw it up this year? I'm telling you, it's going to be different this time, JL Smooth. It's going to be different, John. We're going to do it this time. We're going to do it this time, John. We're going to do it this time. Thank you for the super chat, JL Smooth. All right. Got another super chat here from Chauncey Davis. I'm going to save that one from Chauncey real quick. I got a couple of comments from some members. I want to knock a few of those out real quick and shout out some of my members. Jay Willard, thank you for being a member of the MOBB for 11 months. Huge honor. Thank you so much. Who writes, quick drop in to say what up to all. And he got a couple of Ron's Plan emojis as well. Huge shout out to my guy, Jay Willard, man. Thank you for your patronage. Let's see. I thought I had one more. I do have one more here from Ed B. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB for 11 months, Ed B. Greatly appreciate you. Ed B writes, Lou, did you attempt that exercise Wes was doing? Hell no. Okay. Wes, I told you Wes is one of my favorite offensive linemen on the team. And Wes is a bully, man. And Wes is a bully because of some of those exercises that he does in the offseason. Wes is one of the strongest dudes on the team. And that exercise he was doing, not for the faint of heart. You're not going to see your man Louie T doing that shit unless you want me to tear my rotator cuff. Okay. Hell no, I didn't try that. But Wes is that dude. That's why I love him. Thank you for the comment, Ed B, and thank you for being a member of the squad for 11 months. Metaphor, thank you for being a member of the MOBB for 11 months as well. Really appreciate all of y'all that's been riding with the kid essentially for the entirety of the MOBB, man. It's been a fun ride, and I can't wait to see what memories we create moving into the future. Who writes, shout out to the mob. Our excitement volume goes to 11. You might be right, man. The knob stops at 10, but I think we might actually break that and go to 11. I mean, it's live right now. I mean, we're really feeling ourselves, and I'm excited, man. I'm trying to temper my excitement because I know the impact and influence that I have sometimes with. If I'm excited, it makes you guys somewhat excited. And I don't want to project that onto you and give you false ideas of grandeur. Okay. I'm trying to keep it in its proper perspective, but I already told you guys, this is when you know that I've bought in hook, line, sinker, and they've sold me a bill of goods, whether it's a good, bill of goods, or if it's a bad bill of goods, whatever the case may be. This is when you're going to know that they've got me on the end of the hook. We win those first 2 games, and we take care of Philadelphia in week 3, and we go to Dallas 3-0 with a chance to go 4-0. Don't know how big of a game that's going to be because I don't know what Dallas is going to be. That could be a huge early season matchup between 3-0 Dallas and 3-0 Washington, or 2-1 Dallas and 3-0 Washington. And that could be a huge matchup early in the season. If we get there, and you remember when we won 4 in a row and we had Dallas coming to the crib, I was beside myself. Okay, I don't have to remind you. Wasn't my finest hour, but I don't take back anything I said then. I felt it in that moment, and I'm telling you, if we get to that point again, I'm going to lose my shit, and I'm going to be talking cold hard cash again. And if this team gives me a reason to believe we're legitimate, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You know that. All right, I can turn it to 11 real quick, real effing quick. All right. Anyway, Chauncey Davis, the OG, triple OG. It's been a while, Chauncey. My guy, Chauncey Davis, say hello to the beautiful wife for me. My guy, Chauncey Davis, OG, triple OG. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Rights. Lou, Chauncey, it's our time. Wentz is the key. I'm still in the ride with you and Ron. You've never left. You've always been in the whip with us. You've always said, hey, I'm not taking my safety belt off. You like, first of all, I'm too old for the shenanigans, okay? My safety belt, click, clack, is in, and I'm not taking it off. So you've always been ride or die. I love it because I'm in the same boat with you, right? So this feels like a big season, and to your point, Carson Wentz is the key. And I've said that before. You're saying it now. Other people have said it. It's not rocket science. The reason, I've said this multiple times, the reason for my belief that this could be a double-digit season, because look, we could have the same schedule, okay? And we could have the same roster that we put together. And if this is Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm telling you right now, I'm not talking the way that I'm talking right now. I'm not. I'm telling you that we're not making the playoffs, that Ryan Fitzpatrick, any team that has Ryan Fitzpatrick start a game for them is not allowed to make the playoffs. That's in the NFL bylaws. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that we're going to have stinking this year. We're going to lose some games and we have no business losing because Ryan Fitzpatrick is our quarterback. But I'm not saying that. Why? Because it's not Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's not Case Keenum. It's not Dwayne Haskins. It's not Kyle Allen, even though I like Kyle Allen. You guys know that. But it's not Kyle Allen. It's Carson Wentz. And he gives us a chance. He is the key to all of this. He's the key. So, you're spot on. As always, dropping gems on our melon. OG, triple OG, Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. B-Ball God, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, B-Ball God. Right. Shout out from one lefty to another. Big fan, Lou. Big ups to my guy, B-Ball God, holding it down for the lefties in the building. We in the building. You know what we do. Left-handers, man. We creative. We use all portions of the brain. We tap into those areas that those righties can't. Not to shit on right-handed people, because I love y'all. It's more y'all than there are of us. But we're special. We're special. We're a different breed. Shout out to B-Ball God, holding it down, man. Left-handers for life. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. B-Ball, God, HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, if we go 10-7, miss the playoffs, goodbye, Wentz? That is a great question. So I think how the 10-7 is achieved will go a long way in determining whether or not he's back. So I'll give you a scenario to where I believe 10-7 is good enough for him to be back. And I'll give you a scenario in which 10-7 isn't good enough for him to be back. So If we were to start the season off 4-6, 4-7. Let's start the season off 4-7. Had some unfortunate bounces of the football. Wentz has played solid ball. Not great, but solid football. Good enough for us to win. The defense has let us down. Let's say we're 4-7, and the defense is once again one of the worst on third downs. And we lost two of the games that we've lost. We scored 30 and 32 in those games, and we lost, 33-30 in one of them, and another one 37-32. And we were up 32-30 with a minute and 12 seconds left, and we blew the lead, or something like that, right? Okay, so let's say it was 34-32. We were up 32-27, and the defense gives up a touchdown in the final possession of the game. We could easily be in that 4-7 scenario that I just posed. We could easily be 6-5, right? But we're 4-7 because the defense has been horrendous. Wentz has been good enough for us to be 6-5, 7-4, but instead we're 4-7. But even in the midst of that, Wentz leads this team on a 6-game win streak to end the season. We're 10-7. We missed the playoffs at 10-7. Okay, but we finish up the season hot. We're 10-7, but we missed out on the postseason. And Wentz was really good. 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 3,654 yards, completion percentage at 69.8. He played well enough for us to do damage, but the defense just wasn't up to par. He could be back the following year. Now, the other end of the spectrum at 10-7, you missed the postseason and he's not back, is you start the season off in the reverse, 7-4. Wentz is playing hot football. His team's playing well. Defense is playing quality ball, complimentary football across the board. And then obviously you lose, what do you lose? 7-4, and you split the final 3 games. You win 3, you lose 3. But let's say you're 7-4. You win the next 2 games to get you to 9-4. Then you lose 3 in a row. Then you win 1. Okay, so now you're 10 and you're 10-7, right? So you had a chance. You were 7-4, then you were 9-4, then you were 9-6, then you are 10-6, and then you lose the final game of the season. You're 10-7, and during that stretch, Wentz was up and down. He turned the football over. He was trying to do too much. There were games there to be won. Cleveland against Jacoby Brissett and the Browns, who had nothing to play for. They come into Washington and beat us. Wentz was awful. Had 2 interceptions and a fumble. A costly fumble late in that game to lose to the Browns 20-17 at home. And again, you have no business losing to a Browns team that only won 5 games the entire season. Like, that's the kind of game late in the season that you point to and say, hey, he got to go. And I think that would be the type of situation where you started off 7-4. You were once 9-4 on the season, then lose 3 straight. You're 9-7, and then you win 1 at the end of the season, 10-7. But it's too little, too late. That's the kind of finish to the season that could get Carson Wentz axed. So I could see a situation in which he's back at 10-7 and he's out. It just depends on how the 10-7 is achieved. That's a great question, though. Thank you for the super chat, HTTR for life. Let's see. Aaron Carson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. AC Slater. Wow. AC, thank you for doubling up. My guy Aaron writes, hey, Lou, big Commanders fan from Chi-Town. Chi-Town in the house? Says, I know the LTN is growing by leaps and bounds. Does your data indicate how many members of the squad reside out of the DMV? I probably could acquire that information. So it usually doesn't tell me where exactly they are. in terms of the demographic. I'm pretty sure I could get that information. Like if I really did a deep data dig, I could get that information. Usually they just tell me if whether it's in the US or what country it's in, Canada, the Philippines, something like that. Male or female, that kind of thing. They tell the different ages, what age bracket that each, viewer is in, that sort of thing. But I don't know if they actually tell me what region they're in or not. But I'm pretty sure if I did some deep diving into it, I probably could figure that out. But I love it, man. I appreciate you holding me down in the Midwest and, keep holding it down for the LTN and the Commanders. I truly do appreciate you, Aaron. Appreciate the love for sure. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, under the assumption he plays really well. Again, if he plays really well, and even though we missed the playoffs, you would have to assume that he played well and the defense didn't, because it's hard for me to imagine he plays well, we win 10 games, and it's not good enough to make the playoffs. That means that there's a game or two in there that you're kicking yourself that you didn't win, and those make all the difference in the world. When you miss the postseason by a game, you start playing back some of those opportunities that were missed earlier in the season. And, that may have come back to haunt you at the end when you don't have enough bricks in the left-hand column, and you don't qualify for bonus football. So if he plays well, I think he's back. If we win double-digit games, 10, even if we don't qualify for the postseason, I think they'd run it back at that point. John Livingston, my guy JL Smooth. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, John. Who writes, Lou, I meant how the Bills will screw it up. Oh, you talking about your boys. He says, y'all should at least make the playoffs with that schedule, but I can't express how hard it was for me to come to your chat after that Chiefs game. That was brutal, man. And that was one of the greatest finishes to an NFL game these eyes have ever seen. And I've seen some great finishes to games, but I can't remember one that was tit for tat the way that was. The thing that is still hard for my brain to reconcile is how you manage to let them get into field goal range. And this is the thing I hate about NFL defenses late in games. I get you want to protect against, a shot over the top. You don't want to, but that's why you have two safeties deep. That's why you play deep coverage. You could have played cover 4. You could have played anything to keep everything in front of you. What I don't understand is when teams get late in the game, they change up their defensive philosophy. All of a sudden now, let's play 50 yards back, keep everything in front of us, and give up 30-yard completions with minimal time coming off the clock. That's the stupidest thing ever. Like, I remember Washington losing to Detroit in 2020 after Chase Young had a personal foul penalty that put them in a position that all they needed was it. First of all, it was a personal foul penalty. And I want to say, I don't think there was another penalty, but it was a personal foul penalty that put them right around midfield. And so all they needed was like 8 yards to get into a field goal situation. It wasn't like a chip shot. It's going to be like 58, 59 yards, but their kicker has a huge leg. You're indoors. Like, why are you giving them 8 yards of space to work with so that they can and it's not like it was 1 second left or 2 seconds. It was 8 seconds left on the clock. So that's enough time for them to run 8 yards up the field. I think it was more like 5 or 6 seconds, but that's enough time for them to run 8 yards up the field, catch it, fall down, call timeout, and get a kickoff, which they did. Why are you playing that far off? And that's the stupid shit that defensive coordinators do when the game's in the balance. Don't want to give up anything cheap or deep, so I'm going to play soft. Well, you haven't been doing that all game, and you've been having success. Just keep playing the defense that you've been playing that's got you to this point that you have the lead with this final possession and not a lot of time left on the clock. Just keep doing the same shit you've been doing. That's the part of that game that really frustrated me. They had no business being able to send that game to overtime. None. Anyway, How will your Bills screw it up? That's what you were saying. Your Bills brain, it's finding it hard to, because, and this is part of being scarred as a fan. Now, you've had a lot more success of recent note. So I think they're starting to undo some of that damage that has been done to you over the years. But when you haven't had the success and you keep falling short, and you've had scars already, it's hard to say, like, this can't be real. This can't happen to us. We don't win the Super Bowl. Like, that's not what happens to us. But your time is coming. Josh Allen is legit. You know it. I know it. The skill position players around him are outstanding. The roster building that has been done in Buffalo, second to none in the league. You're in a position right now. The window is wide ass open in Buffalo. Okay. These next 3 to 5 years are critical if you're a Bills fan. You need to get it done, because at some point, Stephon Diggs isn't going to be Stephon Diggs anymore. At some point, you're going to have to pay, a guy like Gabe Davis. These guys are on rookie contracts. You got some guys that are going to come in, like Jamison Crowder, for instance, this year on a minimal deal. Like, you have to take advantage of these opportunities, because at some point, you're not going to be able to pay everybody. You're going to lose some of these guys that are critical pieces. And so you've got to take advantage of all of these opportunities that are in front of you in this window. These next 3 years or so are going to be huge, because the window's wide ass open now. But as Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert continue to come of age, they're going to be around. That window gets tighter and tighter. The margin of error gets smaller and smaller. At some point, Deshaun Watson's going to be added back into this equation. He's going to make things even more difficult. Okay. You got Russell Wilson is going to come over to your conference this year and try to make things difficult as is. Mahomes isn't going away. They're going to retool in Kansas City. He's going to still be around. It's going to be a fist fight out in the AFC. But Josh Allen and company are equipped right now to do damage. But when that opportunity presents itself, you got to be ready. So we'll see. I'm anxious to see what you guys do this year, because I didn't think you handled the success of winning the division 2 years ago well this past year. Like, it shouldn't have come down to what it came down. Like, you literally had to go to Foxborough in like week 17, and that was a big game and win in New England to really solidify that this is our division. And it wasn't until that game, that might have been week 15. It was some time late in the season, but it wasn't until that game where you said, okay, whew, we can exhale. This is our division. And it shouldn't have come down to that. So I need y'all to get back to where you were 2 years ago, where you dominated and division was it was not even close to being up for grabs. It was your division. You were dominant, and you made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. I need you to get back to that. To me, this is the year where you're supposed to be 13-4 in the number one seed, 14-3, number one seed in the AFC. And all roads to the Super Bowl go through Buffalo. But we'll see what happens. And let me say this, to your point, coming to the stream after that game, I feel like as a fan, take all the time you need. I'd much rather you show up, and because we don't have the same fandom there, we're not sharing in the grief. It's a little bit different. And so I understand when, fans of a team that lose a heartbreaking game, especially in the postseason, because again, I just talked about this, the excitement level builds and the intensity builds. You beat the brakes off of New England in Wild Card Weekend. I mean, it was historic. It was a historic ass whooping, right? So now you're feeling good about yourself. You're returning to the scene of the crime from the year before, and you're like, we went there earlier this year, and we left those boys in chalk. It's still a chalk outline where, Mahomes threw a pick six, and we bust their ass. in the regular season. It's a chalk outline right around the 27-yard line. And you thought you were going to go in there and you were going to win. And for 3.5 quarters, it looked like that was going to be the case. And then to lose in the fashion that you did when the game seemed to be over and Allen did what he did. Because you got to remember, Mahomes goes down and scores. Allen goes down and scores. Then Mahomes scores again and you're like, oh, shit, here we go. And then Allen says, no, not this time, with about 23 seconds left, 17 seconds left, some bullshit like that. This shit is over. Allen's on the sidelines. He's high-fiving. Everybody thinks the shit is over. And then your defensive coordinator loses his damn mind for the last 17 seconds. That's tough. That's a bitter pill to swallow. And to not get it at all in overtime, right? They win the toss. We all knew whoever won the toss won the game, okay? You called heads, it was tails. They go down the field, they score, game over. Drive safely. That's brutal. As a fan, that's tough. And you know what? In those situations, I don't want to watch NFL Network. I don't want to watch ESPN. I don't want to watch Fox Sports. Well, I don't want to hear shit. I get it. And then to listen to somebody that's not a fan, so he's not sharing the same misery that I am in right now. He's not sharing the same grief. He's not grief-stricken. He just watched a hell of a football game. He had no vested interest. So he's not feeling the pain that I feel. I don't know if I can stomach that. I get it. And I never get mad or upset at fans that I talk to throughout the course of the season. Their team wins. They're happy. They're showing up. They're talking to me. Their team loses a game like that. They don't show up. They don't post. I'm not upset because I get it. I'm a fan. I'm a human. I know how this works. So I totally get it, JL Smooth. Anyway, B-Ball God, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Miles Sanders sounds like us last year, LOL. Also, a broke college student who super chats here and there, but watches all content. Hope we're right mentally. First of all, thank you for the support, man. I mean, look, don't spend it if you don't got it. Okay. I'm always a huge advocate for spending smartly and being financially and fiscally responsible. Okay. So if you don't got it, don't give it. Okay. But I appreciate the generosity, man. It means a lot when you don't have a lot and you still blessing me. I really do appreciate that, man. I mean, I truly do. So Miles Sanders. Now I'm not putting this on us, even though we were saying a lot of out of pocket shit last year and it came back to bite us in the ass. This is some 20, I think it was 2014 Eagles, dream team. If I'm not mistaken, it was either 14 or 11. Either way, this is some Eagles dream team Vince Young 2.0 shit here. This all-star team reference that Miles Sanders is talking about. I love it. And the beauty of it is a lot of these Eagles fans are like, hey, Miles, shut your ass up. they don't want to hear that shit. Okay. Not after the last time. But there's some Eagles fans like, hey, Miles, talk your shit, man. And I'm like, hey, Miles, talk your shit. I love it. It's going to make it that much sweeter when we take our size 12 Commander boot, turn that son bitch sideways, and stick it up their candy asses. It's going to make it that much sweeter. So he says, hope we're right mentally. I mean, look, I see a different mental approach this year. And again, it's early. It's OTAs. It's mini camp. I mean, really, what are we talking about, right? This time last year, the vibe was different. You could tell we were smelling ourselves. Dudes weren't showing up. Some guys that went Hollywood on us. Rivera was talking about, I don't think these dudes get it. I think we got some immature guys. This is an immature team. He was already telling us this shit could end really poorly for us if we don't change some things. And it did. Ended very poorly for us. Now, some of those circumstances were unfortunate, but we weren't doing the things we needed to do, So it's a totally different vibe right now, for sure. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, B-Ball God. And keep holding it down, man. Make sure you're getting it done at school, too. All right? If you're going to go and you're going to spend that money to get that education, make sure you make the most of it. Colton Pagano Jackson, my guy, CPJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, CPJ writes, much love to you and the mob plus the Cherry Squad. You know what it is. Stand up. We in the building. He said, with that said, 11-6 and a playoff dub, book it. That's where I'm at right now. That is exactly where I am with mine. 11-6, a playoff dub. I'm not saying that I'm satisfied with that. I want more. I'm greedy. But if you told me that's where it ends for us, the ride ends in the divisional round, a hard-fought contest, not an ass whipping, not, hey, we happy to be here. But no, we had a chance to win, and we just didn't make winning plays, or, you know, we got down by too much early, but we made a furious comeback and just fell short. Whatever the case may be, we were highly competitive, and it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, but not one that is to the point where you're like, we were awful. Let's get it out of our mouth. Now, you know, no, let this bitter taste simmer a bit. All right, savor that shit so that you don't want to taste that again next year. You want to get back there, but you want to make the result different next time. So if you told me that was what the end of the season looked like for us, I said, okay, I can dig it. That's not what I want. Yeah, but I can dig that. So I'm looking forward to this season, man. And again, sip slow. I guess that's all I can keep saying. Sip slow. Thank you for the super chat, CPJ. And shout out to the mob and the Cherry Squad as well. James Johnson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, James Johnson writes, Lou, I think we have some alcoholics in here. LOL. I think you're right, James. I think you're spot on, Double J. I think there are some alkies in here, man. He says, I'm thinking 10-7, 11-6. Yeah, it could be more with our schedule, but I know our franchise, LOL. I think you're absolutely right. Like, my guy, JP, like, to hell with your punch. I got my own flask over here. I'm going to go ahead, take a swig of this, and JP ends up taking a whole flask to the head and then refills it. Straight alcohol. JP's drinking 100 proof over there, burning a hole in his damn chest. And JP's like, 13-4, 15-1. Damn it. Super Bowl. think we got some alkies out there, man. So I'm trying to get them to sip slow, but you know how it goes sometimes, man. It get good to you and you just don't know when to stop. Friends know when to say when, which is why I keep telling y'all, sip slow. Sip responsibly. Okay? Sip slow. Anyway, thank you for that super chat, James Johnson, man. I really do appreciate you. That was a funny one. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for the double up. OG, triple OG. My guy, Chauncey Davis writes, I'm still around. House full of granddaughters from 11 to 24, 4 total for the summer. I'm just saying. Well, you got your hands full. Beautiful, though. That is a beautiful thing. And, you know, the crazy part about that is usually once they get to a certain age, they're not around as much. To hear that you got a 24-year-old, you know, maybe there's a 19-year-old in there mixed in with the 11 and a 15. That's rare. That's beautiful. That means that the family dynamic there is tight knit, because you get some 19-year-olds, as soon as they hit 18, I'm out. I see you when I see you. Peace. You know, 24-year-old, oh man, I'm traveling. It's summertime. I ain't got no, you know, where to be. I'm out of school. Maybe I was, you know, in school. I'm out of school. I'm out. I'm going to travel. I'm going to see my friends, whatever the case may be. But they spending time with their grandparents. That is beautiful, man. Cherish it. Cherish it. As a wise man or men once said, cherish the love we have. We should cherish the life we lead. Cherish it, man. Cherish your family. It's a beautiful thing. Chauncey Davis, OG, triple OG. Send love to the grandkids. Granddaughters. That's beautiful. Got a super chat here from Alex. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Alex writes, End of Miles' quote, but we've got to see. It's going to come down to camp, taking it one day at a time, putting everything together. Much to do about nothing. Don't nobody care about the end of the quote. Don't nobody care about the end of the quote. That's why CBS Sports didn't put the rest of the quote up there, because that is inconsequential. The money line, I'm going to pull it up again. The money line in that statement probably big as hell now. Yep, got to resize it again. But the money line in that quote, God, this mouse is driving me bananas. The money line in this quote, nobody cares about what he had to say afterwards. Okay? Trying to clean it up one day at a time and all that bullshit. Nobody cares about that. Okay? You said what you said. You meant what you said. And that's final. We feel like we're an all-star team. We feel unstoppable. Period. That's the end of the quote. I don't need the rest of what he said. I don't care about what else he said. He said what he said. He meant what he said. And we got it. Loud and clear, the message has been delivered. You feel like you got the best team in the division? All you got to do is go out and take care of business. You feel unstoppable. Who's going to stop us? Who's going to beat us? We feel unstoppable. Okay. We're going to see. Okay. No, it's not much to do about nothing. It's something, especially when previously on As the Eagles Turn, Vince Young once said, we feel like the dream team. Now you feel like you're an all-star team. Interesting. Young grasshopper. As I said at the top of the show, Miles Sanders needs to worry about staying healthy. That's what he needs to worry about. All-star that. Okay? Anyway, I enjoyed the quote. That, you know, the rest of that is pretty much like, that's like me saying, man, I feel like we're the best team in the league. Nobody can beat us. Only way we lose is if we beat ourselves. But we got to take it one day at a time. We got to show up at camp, you know, and we got to do everything the right way. Like, don't nobody care about all that extra shit you say. The money line is we're the best team in the league. Nobody can beat us if we don't beat ourselves. That's what everybody's going to be talking about. All that other stuff, that's just to try to round off the edges, if you will. Yeah, the edges are sharp. Too late. Okay? Edges are sharp. Razor sharp. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Alex. Eddie Behringer, my guy, Eddie B. What is going on? Thank you for the super chat and being a member of the MOBB, my guy, Eddie B. Writes, Lou, Eddie says, I've said before over the years, something feels different about this season. Don't want another heartbreak. I got to believe. Why not us? I'm saying, man, why not us? Now, it was funny. I brought that up. I want to say on the Terry show, why not us? And I had a lot of people in the comment section saying, this is why not us. Okay. You know why not us. Okay. So it goes both ways, man. Why not us? Of course, why not us? You know why not us? But to your point, you know, this season feels different. But we got to see, you know, it's July now, July 1st. All right. Still a couple of months away from the start of the season. So much can transpire between now and September when the season gets kicked off. So, you know, I'm trying to contain my excitement, right? Because I know how this thing goes. I've been a fan long enough to know that it doesn't take much for this thing to go sideways. So I'm I'm trying to, stay grounded. It's hard. It's hard, especially when you aren't used to being in this position. I'm used to, straddling the fence. Hey, 8-8, now with this extra game, 8-9, 9-8, somewhere in that window. If the ball bounces our way, we could win 10 games. That's the shit that I normally do, because that's normally what kind of a football team we're prepared to put on the field. I feel different about the roster. I feel different, damn sure different about the schedule. And most importantly, I feel different about the quarterback position. So, and even then, still, I have my doubts and reservations about the quarterback position. It's still better than anything we've put on the field. I can't stress this enough last 5-6 years. So it just feels different. It feels different for sure. Thank you for the super chat, Eddie B. Keep pumping out that music, bro. Let's see. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you once again. OG, triple OG writes, Lou, Chauncey, what do you think about Warren Sapp's comment to the D-line that a lone wolf don't eat and Chase spending time with Von Miller? I'm so glad you brought that up. I meant to bring up that Von Miller and Chase Young outing. I'll save that one for last. Let's talk about what Warren Sapp had to say. And it's a very poignant message. It's the message that Ron Rivera and defensive line coach Sam Mills and Jack Del Rio have been preaching. Like, I don't love Sam Mills III. You guys know that, but they've been in unison preaching that same message. Hey guys, just do what we ask you to do. Rush in unison with one another, and this thing can work. Don't go off doing your own thing. Rush up the field. Allow a quarterback to escape the pocket. Keep the cup of the pocket. If everyone does their job, if everyone rushes in their proper lane, we can all eat. Okay? And Warren Sapp's not wrong. He's a Hall of Fame player for a reason. And I think that message being delivered from an interior guy is more influential, and I think there's more weight behind it, because generally speaking, an interior pass rusher has two jobs as a pass rusher. You can either, one, just straight up beat a dude with, finesse, quickness, whatever the case may be. If you've got it like that, if you've got that in your bag, Warren Sapp did, like an Aaron Donald or John Randall, when you got it in your bag, you got it in your bag. Or you could collapse the pocket. You may not get the sack. You may get the sack. You may walk that guard or that center right back into the lap of the quarterback. Or you might just collapse the pocket. Now that quarterback has nowhere to step up. And the guy on the outside for Warren Sapp, that was Simeon Rice coming off the edge. Now he's got a chance to get to the quarterback, because now that quarterback has nowhere to go. That's what he's saying. And one of the things we haven't done, I think, in Washington, a good enough job of at least, is collapsing the pocket. I feel like our pass rushers inside either win with quickness, or they're veering out. They're leaving this area for the quarterback to step up, because they're not applying pressure inside, in the interior. They're allowing quarterbacks to step up, which makes it harder for Chase Young and Montez Sweat to meet at the quarterback. That quarterback, all he has to do when he gets to the top of his drop to avoid Chase Young and Montez Sweat is to just step up. If those guys do their job on the interior and Montez Sweat and Chase Young do their job on the outside, there should be nowhere to go. That pocket should be collapsing. It should be engulfing that quarterback. And that's what Warren Sapp essentially was saying, is that, look, y'all can go out here and try to play hero ball if you want. And, every now and again, hero ball works. You whoop the guy in front of you's ass, you can get to the quarterback. But if that doesn't work and you don't win that matchup and you go off and do your own thing, it impacts the other guys that are rushing. Because if, let's just say, Chase Young wins immediately off the snap, and he's making a beeline for the quarterback. But you decided, I'm going to rush. I'm going to try to rush outside, and win with this swim move. And that guard takes you and whoops your ass, runs you up the field. Now there's a huge gaping hole in the A gap. That quarterback sees Chase Young coming out of the corner of his eye, and he tucks it. Jalen Hurts tucks that shit and runs. Says, to hell with this. I'm out. And he gets 6 yards on 3rd and 5 instead of getting sacked. Because if you were rushing in the gap that you were supposed to, if you had your rush lane integrity, Chase Young's going to get a sack. Do your job. It's enough of food around here for everybody to eat if we all do our job. At the end of the season, you got 8, you got 6, he's got 12, and I got 11. It's enough for us to eat if we all do our job. But we have to do our job collectively as a unit. If somebody wants to go rogue, it's going to impact us. And we saw it last year when Chase Young and Montez Sweat would rush up the field and leave that big-ass gap there in the C gap, and the quarterback would take the hell off, or he would extend the play like Aaron Rodgers did against us. On that first possession of the game, it's 4th down. He's got nowhere to go with the football, and Chase Young runs up the damn field. Tackle pushes him up the pocket, and Aaron Rodgers scrambles to his right, goes across his body to Devontae Adams, who breaks a tackle and scores a touchdown when it should have been turnover on downs. That's an example of somebody going rogue and being a lone wolf, and now nobody eats. The whole defense is on the sideline, gassed after an 11-play possession that could have ended in defensive victory. Instead, you're lamenting about an opportunity missed, and now it's 7-0. So, yeah, Warren Sapp was spot on. I'm glad he came. It's always good when the OGs are giving some knowledge to the youngins because they need it. They need it. Speaking of OGs blessing the youngins with some well-needed knowledge, I love it that Chase Young was working with Von Miller. I couldn't think of a better guy for him to be out there putting in work with. And I love the clips that I saw because I've told you guys this a million times. When it comes to pass rushing in the NFL, to me, 90% of pass rushing is mental. It's mental. It's really upstairs. Because if you got a tackle guessing, if he's looking for speed, you give him power. If he opens up the gate expecting speed, you go inside. You got this guy off balance. He doesn't know if he's coming or he's going. He don't know if you speed rushing him, power rushing him. He don't know if you about to stick that long arm of the law up into his chest and jack him up on skates. He's looking for speed now. You come with power. It's a beautiful thing. It's mental. But that 10% that I talk about, either you need to have an explosive get off or you need to be able to use your damn hands or a combination of the two. And the elites can do it all. They can play the mental warfare with you. And then when you feel like you've got them figured out, they can just flat out beat you with technical skill. The Bozas of the world, they got some explosive steps, but guess what? They win with their hands. They are 5th-degree black belts with these right here. You think you got them? Boom, slap your hand down, rip the finish. I'm at the quarterback. What you going to do? Nothing. It's too late. I won because I got them damn hands down. Hand down, man down. You know how it works. So I was so disappointed in Chase because there was no hand usage. All he would do with his hands was put it on the tackle. And I'm like, this is not Ohio State. That's not the tackle from Temple. That's not the tackle from Illinois, okay? You're not about to bully the tackle from Indiana and toss him aside. These are NFL tackles that get paid, and these guys are just as good of an athlete, if not better than you. You got to be better than that. So watching Von just simply run in a circle and beat up the hands, beat up the hands, beat up the hands, swim the hands, knock the hands down, rip, turn around, do it all over again. I need to see Chase Young involved in hand usage. And I'm pretty sure Von said, bro, you got to use your damn hands, man. These shits are here for a reason. Use them. These are your biggest weapon and attributes as a pass rusher. These right here. You got an explosive first step. That's beautiful. That'll win you a number of matchups and get you to the quarterback 7 to 10 times a season, okay? But if you don't have a Dwight Freeney first step, if you don't have an explosive Derek Thomas first step. You don't have that in your arsenal. Guess what you need? These. Chase doesn't have a dynamic first step. He needs these. Von showing him that brought such joy to my heart. It warmed my heart on so many levels. My heart had turned cold to Chase Young as a pass rusher. That warmed my heart back up. Now there's hope. Hope that he's going to utilize the skills that Von is showing him, transfer those over to the field, maybe bless Montez with a little bit of some of that, and everybody wins. Everybody eats. I hope that's the case. I loved it, though, OG. I really did. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, HTTR for life, writes, Duncan Wright, you still there? I'll take the bet. I don't know if he's still there or not, but he'll be back. Duncan is always here for these streams. So if he's not here, you have plenty of time before the season starts to make that bet happen. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JL Smooth, writes, 13 seconds left. I knew it was something, in that, because it wasn't like 17 or 21, because that's enough time to get in the field goal range. 13 is not supposed to be enough time to get in the. I don't give a shit how many timeouts you have. And I think they had either 2 or a full complement of timeouts. I don't care how many timeouts you have. That's not supposed to be enough time to get in the field goal range. It's not. Period. He says, if I ever see Fence post defense again, I might literally lose my mind. Laughter is the best medicine. Tears of a clown. I always say I laugh to stop myself from crying. You know, I can't stand when defensive coordinators, you do that picket fence defense, right? It makes sense for situations like, hey, it's 8 seconds left, or it's 5 seconds left. This is the last snap of the game. They're at they're at our 9-yard line. They got to score a touchdown. They're down 4. And you line up all your defensive backs with their heels on the goal line. That's when that shit makes sense. I don't love it because they could throw the ball underneath, get some blockers out in front, and he could end up in the end zone. But at least the concept of, hey, we're protecting the front line. We don't want a guy running straight to the front of the end zone, sitting down and catching the ball and falling down, and it's a touchdown. We don't want that. So we're going to line our guys up with their heels on the goal line, and we're going to prevent them from getting into the end zone. I don't like when you back up 20 yards and say, well, they're not going to throw it over our heads. We're going to protect and keep everything in front of us. Well, if you're giving up, 15 yards in 4 seconds, and they do that 3 times, they're in field goal range, dum-dum. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for the super chat. JL Smooth. Got another super chat here from Alex. My guy Alex told me to check my DM. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Alex. Greatly appreciate you. So off to the DMs I go to see what my guy Alex has to say. And Alex writes, let's see. He said, did you enjoy this quote from around the same time in the offseason before we won the Super Bowl? Doug Peterson, Eagles probably have more talent than 90s Packers Super Bowl teams. I have no problem with anybody saying something like that. First of all, the Packers 90s teams were talented, but they weren't like the Cowboys. If he would have said probably have more talent than the triplet, the 3-time Super Bowl winning Dallas Cowboy teams. Whoa. The Packers won 1 Super Bowl in the 90s. And I would argue that the team they won the Super Bowl with in 1996 wasn't more talented than some of those teams that they had with Sterling Sharp at wide receiver that didn't win the Super Bowl. That 96 team with Andre Rison and Desmond Howard, that team wasn't more talented than, some of those Sterling Sharp wide receiver teams, but they couldn't get past Dallas. They couldn't get past San Francisco. I don't have a problem with that statement. That doesn't irk me. That doesn't rub me the wrong way. That's and Peterson probably, I wouldn't say he was a part of those teams because he was with the Eagles in his career, but he watched those teams. He was in the NFL or up and coming at that time. He saw those teams up close and personal. Those were some talented teams, don't get me wrong, but those teams weren't juggernauts, right? Like had he would have been out of bounds had he said this Eagles team is probably more talented than those Cowboys 90s team. Now we talking. That's 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Now you talking some cold hard cash. The Packers, they won 1 Super Bowl. Okay, 1 Super Bowl. They played in 2, right? They played in 2, but they won 1 Super Bowl. And they were talented. Don't get me wrong. Antonio Freeman, Dorsey Levens, Mark Chamora. They had talented football players. I'm not sitting here acting like they didn't have talent. They just, again, they weren't more talented than Dallas. That would have been a statement that would have caught some eyes and that would have made some headlines. That doesn't move the needle for me. The reason the Miles Sanders comment sends off bells and whistles is because of the Dream Team comment made some years ago about Vince Young. Okay. That's why that sets off bells and whistles. Had he said that and there was no Dream Team comments from Vince Young, that comment gets made and we don't even bat an eye. We don't say anything about it. But because there's context to that comment, and now you're making this comment and it's eerily similar, and you've been here before and it didn't go well the first time, that's where that comment comes into play. So I didn't have a problem with that comment because again, it wasn't a comment that I thought ruffled feathers. Had he said Dallas is 90s teams, whoa. Now we're talking. And again, not to shit on the Packers teams of the 90s. They went to 2 Super Bowls. They won 1. But I'd argue that some of the more talented Packers teams didn't even make it to the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. But I digress. Let's see. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up, Alex. My guy, HCTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, is Miles' comment interesting or important? It's interesting. It's not important. Let's not make it more than it is. Look, it's July now. These are the things we talk about on June the 30th and July the 1st, right? I think he made these comments on June the 29th. These are the times where you make big deals of comments like that. It's interesting. Okay, it's not important. Not important at all. We may bring this back up if the Eagles are 6-10 going into the final game of the season. We may bring up the all-star comment as their season is going down the drain. Yeah, that's when you bring this shit back up, throw it in his face, laugh, and then you keep it pushing. But if they win the Super Bowl, Eagles fans will bring this up, throw it back in our face and laugh, and that's how it goes. But it's interesting. It's not important. Thank you for the super chat, HTTR for life. John Livingston, my guy JL Smooth, writes, so I haven't watched Chase that much, but I recently rewatched the Buffalo game, and at least 10 times he's running up the field, getting pushed outside, and Allen rolls to the right and eats. One of his touchdown passes came on an exact play just like that, where Allen is in the pocket, he senses trouble, vacates to his right, finds a receiver. I want to say it was Stephon Diggs in the back of the end zone. Might have been Dawson Knox in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. And that shit happened over and over again throughout the course of the season, where Chase was just undisciplined, not staying in his rush lane, And look, you give the license to an elite rusher to do whatever the hell he wants. He wants to freelance. He can get away with that shit if this guy. Like Aaron Donald, I'm pretty sure they don't tell Aaron how to rush. You do whatever the hell you want to do, Aaron, because the shit you do works. So if you want to jump inside of the guard, past the center, split those two guys, and still get to the quarterback, by all means, bro. You just jumped out of your gap, 2 gaps over, but you still got the quarterback. Hey, knock yourself out, bro. Do whatever the hell you want to do. But when you're not winning, when you're not turning that corner, when you're not bagging quarterbacks, you can't keep doing that shit over and over again. That's when it becomes a problem. Thank you for the super chat, John Livingston. Greatly appreciate you, as always. Let's see. Got another super chat, I think. And I do, from HTTR for Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. HTTR for Life writes, Lou, I got a $20 bet with Alex, a 40 with Duncan, and a 50 with a Panthers fan friend. I've got more coming too. We better not suck this year. Well, right now you're on the hook for $110. So yeah, we better not suck this year. And this is documented right here at the 2:46 10 mark of the July 1st, June 30th / July 1st. We want all the smoke video. Here it is. HTTR for Life has a $20 bet with Alex, a $40 bet with Duncan, and a $50 bet with the Panthers fan friend. So that's 110 right there that you're on the hook for. And he said he's got more coming. So yeah, we better not suck. I would advise you better bet on the right games. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. Be smart about when you decide to slap down some money on the good guys. All right. You could be just as detrimental to your own success as the team is if you're betting on the wrong game. So understand what you're doing. All right. Know your team. Know thyself. Know thy opponent. And make sure you're being fiscally responsible. Okay. All right. And that is the final super chat. And that is how we will end tonight's show. So I thank you guys for joining me on tonight's show. If you're out there and you haven't already done so, which you probably have, but just in case, hit that sub button for more great content. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of that great content. And hit the like button, as that helps this channel grow exponentially. Over 350 of you still reside out there, but only 200 plus likes. So hit the like button, man. Show that support and that love. It helps this channel grow exponentially. Can't state that to you guys enough. So with that said, I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, post up and take command. Somebody told me in the comment section, it's disrespectful to the American military to salute with your left hand. I already told you why I do it. Now, I'm not saluting the military. If I was saluting the military, I would do it with my right hand, okay? But this is my show, okay? I already told you I'm left-handed. I'm going to keep saluting with my left hand because I want to honor my left hand, okay? See, that's the problem. It's disrespectful to use your left hand. You have to use your right hand. F that. My left hand wants some respect. Put some respect on my left hand's name. Anyway, I got another super chat here. A couple super chats, actually. HTTR for Life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you as always. My guy HTTR for Life writes, oh, don't worry. That's just $110. Easy for me. I'm assuming that's what that is. Easy for me. Yeah, it's 110. It's 110. It's 110. It's just an easy 110. That's it. Hey, if you got it, man. If you got it. Smoke it if you got it, right? All right. Thank you for the super chat. Once again, HTTR for Life. Big Money Sonny. My guy, Big Money Sonny in the building. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, big money, Sonny writes, Lou, Sonny, these clowns haven't learned from the past. Undefeated in the division, Wentz 35-7, 4K. Let's go. So you changed it. It was 35-5 and 4K. Now it's 35-7 and 4K, whatever the case may be. If it's 35-5, 35-7 and 4K, doesn't matter. That's all double-digit wins, unless the defense is just god-awful. So I'm with it, man. I'm with it if you with it. Again, I can't sign off on that. I already told you I can't put my John Hancock on that, but I'm with it. 35-5, 35-7, 4K. I'm with it. That's winning football right there. That'll get the job done. Got another super chat from Big Money Sonny. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Big Money Sonny. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, forgot to mention, whenever you need a walkthrough in the Discord, I got you. I got whomever needs a walkthrough. Salutes, brother. I definitely need one of those. I felt so lost and alone when I went into, I was like, my head was spinning. It was like, you ever seen that Army commercial where the guy is walking and then it's like this holographic image and it's all this stuff flying around his face and he's like, all this shit's going on. I felt like, oh my God, what did I just walk? What kind of a zoo did I just walk into? All kinds of shit going on. I have no clue what I am doing, where I'm supposed to be. I don't see anybody. I don't know who to talk to. All I see is a bunch of people talking about gaming. I'm like, what am I doing here? So I definitely need that walkthrough, bro. For sure. So I will take you up on that. Anyway, I digress. Thank you guys for the support. Tonight's show was a lot of fun. We running up chimneys, man. We want all the smoke. We ain't ducking no smoke. You know what it is. You see the thumbnail. Those boys are ready. All smoke. We want it. Those who aren't ready need not apply. These commanders are ready to do some work. So, with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'm done for the rest of the week. I'll be out of the office tomorrow. Again, if something happens, you'll see this face all up in your space, but it's the off season. Like, this is literally the only off season the NFL has. There should be no news coming out of Washington in particular. So, you shouldn't see me again until next week. But in the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Whatever you do, do it safely, soundly. We'll return here next week. And it's July. I'm gonna turn it up a notch. Shit's about to get spicy. Yeah. Shit's about to get spicy. It's July, my birthday month. That means you start smelling the grass. Football's around the corner. It's about to turn it up, man. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Turn it up a notch, a little bit. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Turn it up just a little bit. So, in any event, you guys enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. And I will see you guys next week. God bless. And as always, good night.